hello, hello. All right. Cool, cool. Good evening. Getting ready.
Hi, welcome back to Gamescape 3D. Today we're going to do a speed paint of one of our little peasant houses to show how easy these things are to paint. Here's the peasant house I have to paint today. It has been primered
Sound check,
black.
sound check.
Okay, so we're all ready to go. So I got about 3 minutes into it so far. We got the base, we got the roof, and then we have a few smaller components. I have flat boards here for the loft, and then I got a little itty bitty window parts there, and then I have a hood for the flue up on the roof, and this could be resin printed or FDM printed. And then lastly we have
Hey, Rascal, thanks.
A little ragtag door to put on.
Thanks
the
for
front
the
with a filament
anti-hero
hinge.
support too on a great Thursday night game.
In terms of prepping the models, sometimes these little holes where the filament door
Can you hear me?
filament's supposed to run through can get clogged up on your resin doors. Sometimes the resin will just settle in there when it's washing out and kind of harden. Sometimes with these doors, it might just be
awesome. Thank you. Scared me there for a second. I was like, oh shoot, no one can hear me.
If you do, you can use a drill bit.
Good.
5/64.
Thanks, Quantum.
Is the size you need to clean out.
Good to know.
Those holes. So if I have a door there, I might just.
Lots of fun stuff coming up next couple weeks. This will be a very cool theoretical discussion, I think, tonight.
Alright. So we got those holes cleaned out. Should be plenty of room now for our filament. And we will continue on.
I have as many as 3 guests coming on at different times tonight, but none of them are on yet.
Onto the timber frames.
I'll be here soon.
And I'm going to use a pretty good sized brush. I don't care about getting brown everywhere for this first part. In fact, it's preferred. So there's my brown again.
Hey, Keith.
On the lighter side of a mid-tone.
I
don't want to use so much brown that I'm filling in the
Fortunately,
details,
I don't have a game this Thursday because
if some of the black primer comes through, that's all the better. You definitely don't want to waste your time.
You know, it's
Halloween. Around this. It'll actually take away from it in the end, and it's kind of just a waste of time. You can go do something else. Do make sure you kind of hit the tops and the bottoms of your timbers.
Good too.
Okay. Don't just paint the face of these things.
It does, doesn't it?
Coming back later to hit these sides. This is kind
Jeremy's
the last time they should be getting painted, unless
does a great job.
You have to come back in to do a little touch up.
Here comes Anna.
Okay.
Alrighty, good. See you. Hey, John.
See, I'm just kind of going at it.
Hello.
Hello.
No special care being taken.
Yep, let's see.
Will's on. He'll be on a little late, and Tim will be on hour 2. So.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Apply this wood color to the plaster parts.
I just spilled stuff in my keyboard, so I'm using an old other keyboard. We'll see here. I think it. I did it earlier today, so I think it dried up. So I'm going to test it now. So if I disappear suddenly,
no problem. I like how your one dog's not completely on the blanket like the other one was.
Oh yeah. He's very patiently waiting to see if I have any yummy stuff here. So yeah,
that's cool.
Yep.
I might just kind of.
So I gave Chico some stuff. We just had a walk, so we just back from a walk. There you go.
Alcantara, that's cool. You can always lurk.
Okay.
You know,
So
you can win something. It's all good. We appreciate it.
Same way.
There we go.
We appreciate
the
it.
key is really different amounts of pigment in different areas, and that'll kind of create a little bit of your shimmer.
All right, let's see. I'll wait one more minute, then I'll go to another screen here. So, yeah, things are. I got some other stuff here.
It seems like my keyboard survived the
Survived the
ordeal.
calamity.
Yep.
Okay, so
yeah. Thankfully, it was water or something, but not much other stuff in it. So I rinsed it off, turned it off, and rinsed it, and it seems to work.
So the roof now.
Yeah.
When we come back.
Yeah, I hate when that happens, man.
I
do, of course, I spill stuff all the time, and
it happens to me too. So yeah, but
in the worst places.
Yep.
Yes, Bob Ross painting minis, absolutely. Absolutely.
If I do the ground after the walls or before, since I'm going to be.
It's actually, if you all met Jeremy from Gamescape 3D at Gary Con, will be back there this year as well.
Mustard brown, yellow.
Yeah, just showing some ads that don't have a lot of music in it that I don't own the rights to, or that I think I do and I don't. So yeah, it just makes it easier on YouTube.
Yep.
Hey, Kai. Hey, Dennis. What's going on, man? Dennis, this is right up your alley, man. The long game. You and me. I'll throw it out there. You're bored, you can hop on, Dennis. I know you probably won't this time, but it's all good, man. If it's like for a half hour to an hour, you can hop, of course. Hey, Michael. Let me see if there's set the giveaway up. Duh. Okay, he set it to the right thing too. I better check that. Oh, I thought I was prepared. Yeah, I was. Cool. Of course, man. Come on and join the party, dude. Even if it's only for a half hour.
Yeah, whatever time he can spare.
Yeah. The long game. It means a lot of things tonight, though. It doesn't mean just campaign. Thank you, dude. Dennis, thanks. Ben Streak. Come on a hair early here because I want to share some things. Yep. So we'll do Classic D&D reprint tonight. Hope you're all doing well. Right, Anna? It's a Sunday.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those where I feel like I did a lot this weekend, but I didn't get anything accomplished, which is not true, but it just feels that way. It's weird.
I'm the opposite. I didn't get any. I did a lot of things, but I felt like I didn't do anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've been underwater, so I can talk about that a bit at the end. But I'm sorry to everyone that I missed Friday's stream and I
noticed
posted
that.
anything.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I've been underwater for a couple of days. I'm recovering. I know how to deal with it. So it's just me and my stupid brain at times. Yeah.
So we got, there's a lot of good things going on. So,
yep.
Really good. So,
and it's not wasted downtime.
What's up, Mike?
That's something we can talk about because that has.
Yeah, that's absolutely part of this discussion.
Yep.
100% part of it. And by the way, Wednesday night, I'll admit this with Mike on. Wednesday night's topic for Legends, I ripped right off from his blog sites.
Oh,
I did. So we'll talk about that too. I was I did a search. I'm like, oh, cool, Halloween stuff. Yeah. All right. So, if you backed Kafir's Kickstarter. I got mine. So and so there's a thank you card. Right, I'll just show you. Thank you card. Right. From the chef,
Oh,
and then just a letter about it, signed and all. So we got that, and then the Kickstarter bonus, which is a nice piece of artwork because it's on his old, right. So
that is cool.
yeah, really cool. And then the main thing that it is on is here it is. Chef Alton Green presents How to Cook Monsters 5e Volume 1 for the dinner and gaming table. So you go. I haven't taken it out of the box. I haven't taken it out yet, but there.
Is that a hardcover?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
Flavor text. Yep. So, hey, Space Goat. Yep. So I got that. I just got this. Ed's got some stuff in here, as you're aware. I will also say Ed will have some stuff in our thing we're working on with Luke. I already got it. I didn't tell you that, Anna. Did I tell you that?
Oh yeah, you told me
that. He sent the monster back already.
Yep.
I asked him to create something crazy, and he did. So, and then when Will comes on, we'll talk this. We got another submission to DM's Guild from here we go. Warlocks of GREYHAWK. So and that's
I haven't gotten it yet. So
that's Will's public. Well, you're on his Patreon, so you have all the stuff there.
I was going to say I think I have these.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but that is we'll talk about that. Thanks, Space. Good to see you too. So we'll have a real fun discussion. Will probably be on shortly. Malden will be on any time for a little bit. Oops, let me move that up. And then Tim will be on hour 2. So we got a lot going on. I got the next 3 Gabbins booked tonight, next week, the week after are all set. So and a lot of guests.
Great.
Yep. So and Anna, you get off next week because it's a jam. It's a creative jam. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got a real. We'll show that shortly. So yeah, we'll have all the crafters.
That's good.
On the creative
That's
jam.
good. Yeah. You haven't had a craft show in
a
forever,
year.
So, yep.
In a year, it was almost a year to the date. So to the day. So we're gonna do that coming up. And like I said, thank you for all the support in October. It's been great. So yep. I'm not kicking Anna off. But I have 4 guests, so I have 4.
Exactly.
And
you have the square already filled up.
I got to square them and
yep.
all. So, So I never kick Anna off. She's more than welcome to come on if she wants. But so this is one I got. Well, I'll show you the guests. So one of them is 75%. All the other 3 are 100%. So but I got one who's never been on the gym. I know Tim busting my stones. Oh yeah.
Okay.
He's been on a couple shows, but yeah. So it's gonna be a fun one. And then the week after that's Ed. On the 10th, as I wind up to my surgery, and I don't know how long I'll be out, so I'm trying to stuff as much as I can in at the time. All right, so this the long game. What is the long game mean? For me, I'll start with me for a change. And here comes Mal. We're gonna ask Dennis. Here comes Dennis first. It's always great to see Malden. Dun, 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 dun. Those Canadian connections sometimes are. Oh, there we go. There he is. Look at that. Woohoo! Dude, it's always great that you can hop on any time, man. Thanks. Oh.
He's connecting. Yep.
Yeah, his audio is connected.
Now I think we can
We got you. Nope.
Nope, we can't hear you yet.
Nope, there we go. We had you for a second. Now we got you. We can hear it. I can hear that.
You got?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit iffy, but I think we got you.
Is it on and off is it a wireless headset? No, I can hear you clearly now. I can hear you.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Now we can hear you.
I can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you.
We hear you grunt.
Now I can't hear you.
There might be low batteries or something in the headsets. Nope. This is okay. Well, it's technology. Uh-oh.
I know. I always turn it off too.
That's why I have wired.
Now, yes.
All right.
You just turned it off.
There
You had
we
the headset
go.
turned off. Yeah.
No. I had to change the transmitter from my wireless to a different port.
No audio for me?
There you go.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, we
BB
can.
says it's on.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's
Mike
probably
Mike
formality.
saying hello.
Yep.
So, all right, here's the question: what does the long game in D&D mean to you? Just in general.
Planning for many, many, many sessions.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's the big picture, both in campaign development from the DM's point of view, like just creating the world, but also specifically to the players, the threads that they travel down, especially if you have multiple parties.
Man, I think you said that better than I was going to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Way better. I was going to say it means the long RPG event game, the long adventure path, the long sub campaign you're going to do. You take them off on a tangent. The long campaign itself, it means a lot of that, and planning it all, and making it so that your players come back, right? Because that's the number one of the top challenges in a long game. Something will always happen to throw a wrench into it, right? It happens. How many times has this happened to you all? You plan like 7, 8 the game, whatever. You're running Temple of Elemental Evil, and you've been running it for 16 sessions. And the 17th session comes, and it's about time to finish, and you're down. You're not doing the nodes because everyone hates them. You're down on the fourth. You're down the fourth level, ready for the end, and two guys, one gets sick, and the other one just doesn't show up. And you're like, my God, what the heck, right? How many times has that happened to you? The long game of political injury. That's another one too. That's it. Yeah. So how do we handle all that? That's part of this.
Also trying to squeeze in.
That's it, man. Go for it.
Yep.
So let's talk about all that. Hey, Coco. Good to see you. We'll see Coco on. I'm gonna shout her out, but we're gonna see her Saturday. I don't have a stream Thursday night because it's Halloween, but I have a Halloween special, and it's right below me too. Saturday at 1. The return of the Overgord, everyone. Woohoo! Legend of the Overgord. Nice.
Overgord.
Yes, I haven't done the Overgord in 2 years. Yeah. So.
Does that involve like melons and things, or
no?
The
Overgord's a pumpkin golem, a pumpkin
beholder,
a pumpkin beholder. Yeah, I'll put him up. I'll put him up. Yeah, it'll be first time for you. Yeah, it's an actual Reaper mini that Mike Disney designed and Reaper miniatures made for Bones 5. They're super rare. Yeah, it's awesome. And Bill did. We can talk about that in a little bit. So, Anna, your thoughts?
Well, I agree with everything said, but there's one other aspect that I think is important to think about if you want to run the long game, and that is you as a DM, you should make sure that your hobby or your playstyle could be that you can support it over time. So you make it right in your lifestyle, so you don't burn yourself out. You don't or under prep and stuff. So you, especially me, meaning I turned this into my job now, so I need to maintain long-term creativity, so to speak, and work long-term on things that goes on for years. So I want to do it, so to speak. And that is the thing, to plan your life in the way possible. So you want to game, so to speak. So you want to do, especially when you run games, so you want to come up with cool stuff, and whether it's just take time to read through modules or plan your own game sessions and your own content and stuff. That is the other part of it as a DM, because no matter how you play, at least some sort of creativity, planning, ideas and stuff needs to come from you as a DM, so to speak.
Great point. If you are, and there's nothing wrong with this, if you are one that has so many things going on in your life, you may be better off running just short missions, couple missions, couple sessions or whatever, because the worst thing, one of the worst things that can happen, barring it's a legitimate illness, legitimate crisis or whatever, is canceling on your players. And that's the toughest thing to avoid happening. It can happen because real life comes up, but your players are relying on you for their weekly entertainment, the camaraderie and everything, and it's vital that you as a DM make it happen, right? I mean, I even hate not having extreme on this Thursday night because I love having my RPG games, but it's Halloween. My son, this may be his last year of trick-or-treating as he's getting older. I to do the fatherly stuff here. But yeah, you get the idea. So yeah, being late too. I mean, I was almost late. Thanks, Rethix. I was almost late. When was I almost late? See you, Alcantor. Thank you. I was almost late for Legends and Lore this week because I had to take my son to the doctor, and I was like saying that I'm getting there. You know, I hate even doing that. So wow, 75 months. So hype train. Thanks, Moose. Hype. So all right.
So some of these issues with the long game has to do with in-game stuff, meaning the plot line, the stuff like that, and some of it is to be able to play the long game, meaning organize your session, the real world stuff. And both of them can either enhance or ruin a game, so you need to be aware of both in-game stuff in order to be able to run a cool game, cool campaigns and stuff, and also the real world stuff surrounding it. So and so both can be an asset and cause problems for the long game. And then you have the problem, the issue of how long should a game be, so to speak. Meaning I think my average campaign is probably about 6-7 years. Or 8 years, because they usually run from between 5 and 10 years. I thought and that's something I want to change. I realize it's not. I don't want to only run 2 more campaigns in my lifetime. I want to run shorter ones, so to speak, and so structure my game or my campaigns, my gameplay differently in the future. That's one of my goals, to restructure how I set up and run my games.
So that's another thing is the planning will lead to style, right? Yeah. So let's do this. Yeah. I know this may be a tough one, right? Throw you right into the fire. Give me an instance of, hey Michael, it could be an instance like, man, I just didn't feel like it that night, so I just canceled. Everyone was pissed off at me. Give me an instance of a problem that arose. I'm not talking about problem players or that, but a problem that arose with in the grand scheme of things in planning. You know,
I have one annoying things that is kind of funny in a way when you, and that is when you haven't planned that much, but you don't want to cancel your session, and you realize that, damn, I can wing this. I can sit down and we can just run, because the players will run into combat, and then it will run by itself, and you have that ambition. And instead, the players, when you throw a barmaid or a bartender or the innkeeper or some insignificant NPC that you've thought about 10 seconds before you put them in the game, and the players start to interrogate that NPC like it was the new coming of Ayus or whatever or something, and they have fun. All of a sudden, they want to have that deep lore session. They want to investigate things. What's that shield on the wall? And what are the food here? And are there any whatever happens in town? And all of a sudden, because normally I can answer all that and I like it, but sometimes I just wing it and hope that you have to send in some goblins and screw up things just to get it going. But sometimes the players want to do the things that you never expect, so to speak. And they want to go down a rabbit hole really, really deep, because all of a sudden they find that fun and interesting, and which is a good thing. But if you haven't planned it, it becomes like what to do now, so to speak. And that's a good problem to have in a way, but it can be, you can feel very inadequate as a DM when the players go into something cool, like they see a house over there, let's run over and see who lives there, and you just mentioned that there's a house just for whatever. So yeah.
Well, that and so here's and it's not a bad thing. Here's the difference between your DMing style and mine. I have, for example, I didn't want to go super late Thursday night, but I knew it may, because I had a group, and it was a dragon fight at the end, and I'm thinking to myself, this is going to go really late. And so if there was a house or something that they wanted to go to in that time frame, knowing I'm under time constraints, I would have said, "Hey, as a DM, it's on the table for visuals."
I've learned to say that. Well, then I end the session because I haven't planned more. I've done that a few times, and then they say, "No, we don't go there. We go somewhere else."
Is that what you said? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Johan, I used to. No. And by the way, did you get your Miniature Building Authority code? I sent it to you Thursday night, late Thursday, early Friday. We had played with our kids, with our sons, and they're all getting older now. And last time Michael Zudrak came over, Zudrak 576 came, and we actually streamed it. And thanks Kai, got us in, and probably that I don't have an offline game at all. Because that was the one thing that we weren't doing because they were younger, but now they're getting older, and so that's a good question. Will,
hello.
Dennis hopped on impromptu, so yeah.
Hi,
Dennis is taking
Hey,
Leonard's
how's
place.
it going?
Pretty good. How you doing, man?
Things are okay.
Good.
We got Dennis for a little bit, and so let's go back to and we'll talk about this again. And Will's got a great new publication. I'll put the link in the chat in a second. Here it is. So, yes, tell us a little bit about Warlocks of Greyhawk, man.
Oh, I saw that coming through the feed.
Yeah.
So basically, I've been doing those the 5th edition archetypes for classes for some time now, and I'm still doing them on my Patreon. And I was getting ready to start putting them all together into the actual like publications. This was actually going to be a Kickstarter, and it got delayed a little bit, and that's right when news dropped about the M's Guild. So I decided, why don't I go ahead and take a chance? Let's go ahead. We'll put it on the DM's Guild. I would like to put it up there and see what kind of response it gets from it. See whether or not basically just the response. I'm really curious to see what the newer players, how much interest there really is going to be in Greyhawk, and so because I've got enough of a following that I've got plenty of people that if I were to take this and put it on drive-through, I'd be getting people there, and I've got enough of a following through Kickstarter that I could probably recoup my costs. And
but this is a little bit of a test balloon to see how well it goes.
It is.
And it's no AI art, right?
No AI art. No.
Okay, everyone. All right.
That's what I was saying. Is like I'm probably going to take a wash on this thing because there's probably at least $1,500 worth of artwork in there, if not more.
Man.
So, I mean, the cover alone that you're looking at right there, that's like
yeah, probably half of it.
No, that's like I think altogether that's $200.
Oh, okay. Wow,
So
that's awesome for $200.
Yeah,
that's great.
So, but well, if you know the right people, you can get
yes
for a decent enough price.
Very
so yeah, so I'm putting it up there. We'll see how well it does, and then this will dictate whether or not I continue forward with.
Link is in chat. I will.
Yeah, because you can have a whole series of these with the other ones too. Yeah.
I've got all of them done except I just put the first 2 of the fighters up. So the only 3 classes left to do are fighters, bards, and sorcerers.
Yeah, you got some fighter ones that go into the Patreon, which is
great.
So
and I've already done. I actually did knights, which was totally separate. It was not something that is which is kind of a fighter already. But so I've got quite a few that could so if this were to go well, next would come clerics. And then after clerics would come the paladins. Those are the bigger ones. I have 25 archetypes each for those.
That's awesome, man.
So we'll see how it goes. Fingers crossed. We'll see.
Plus, I'm going to ask Will for our project to help me with some 5e conversions because I don't know 5e, and so he'll be helping us a little bit there too. But he'll be doing his own thing. And
what I find funny, not to interrupt you, but it's like this is now a thing I'm seeing popping up all over the place where people are like, so is that 2014 5e or is that 5.5?
Right.
24. I'm like, well, wait, I thought it was all the same, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all supposed to be convertible, right?
And add to the giveaway, Will's going to give one of these away.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give
add
it
to the classic, just like Stuart and Paul did. Will's going to give one of these away tonight. There you go.
I'll just have to get. I've never done it through DM's Guild, so I don't know what the hoops.
Yeah, it may take a day or two as Will figures it out. But
so I'll just get their email, and then I can take care of it.
Okay, cool. Everyone got that? So we got 2 giveaways: Classic D&D reprint and this All right, and PDF. All right, so let's tackle this question. So the topic's a long game. Will, you and I talked about that earlier. Here's a question that kind of goes back as an edition one, but we'll take it. Space Ghost. I think I want to run my first campaign back during Gold Box. So we're talking about 576, right?
Hey, Troy.
But include Ash's second edition. Yet I worry about the new 5th edition players joining. What era should I play? Well, first off, Space Ghost, my question is, what edition are you playing? Just because you're going back to Gold Box doesn't mean you're not playing 5th. What edition are you playing? We need to know that first, and then we can answer the question. So what's up there, Troy? Good to see you. That would be the answer. What's up there, Josh? No minions up here tonight? Because I don't count any as one of the minions, so there you go. So if old school or OSC, so anyone want to tackle that one? I don't think I think they'll love the era and the storyline. So you're talking about you're going 581, 583 is Wars, right, Dennis? 583, if you're including Wars. Or are you starting at 576, or you go into 581? You're starting at 576 without, and you're going to implement the Wars in 583. That's what I think he means. So, and he's running OSC. He's worried about 5e players. What do you say? What's the group say?
He's running OSE, Old School Essentials.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. 576. The reason I say 576 is because you have all the opportunities, right? Nothing's changed.
That's what I said.
You haven't had the war. You haven't had others. So it's the sandbox at its greatest ability to be messed and tinkered with, right? So that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, you can go either way. Either you go 576 and you can look at all the material for as possible ways forward, or you can chart your own way forward in the campaign, or you can go late and look at all of it as history and then chart your own territory there. But if you want to have an easy start, then 576 is probably a good choice if you don't want to have to study. But yeah,
Mac, you're funny. Yeah. What are your thoughts there, Dennis?
Well, I mean, depending on what kind of modules he wants to run. Obviously, if you're running the old original modules, it's easier to run it 1E, 2E, because that's what all the stats are.
Oh yeah, that's the rule system. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, if you're a conversion fiend, then knock yourself out. Personally, like Jay, I'm a 2E person, but the best game system is the system that you are personally used to. That's right.
Yeah.
And so if you want to convert the old mods from 1E to 5E, then knock yourself out. It's whatever rule system you're most comfortable with playing, I think. But yeah, if you want to play those early mods, then yeah, those are great. And so then do 576 or whatever, right? And you can run the Giant and the Drow series, the Slavers, all those old classics.
So I'm going to throw a curveball, like I've done every time. Do what I did, because it was cool. Start 569. Right at the
Actually, I think that's actually that show you guys did with about the historical events. I think that's an awesome way to start off.
Thanks.
Right, a campaign.
Yeah.
I think it's a great way. Pick some big event and then have that the kickoff part either before or in the aftermath of that big event. I think that's great.
And there's only minor things that happen in 573. All right, that's the prince gets kidnapped. So, hey, you're gonna get to rescue him. Then you get to see him as crown prince or king coming up. So I'm just kidding, Anna. I'm kidding, and Will, I'm kidding, but I'm not. So all right, I'm just
secretly he was already a man.
So that's what I would recommend: is start in 569 and tell everyone there's this momentous. Here's what you say: 576 is awesome. There's this momentous event a few years earlier. I want to do it. I want you to be a part of it. I want you to experience it, because it's like, and do what I did. Make them like youngsters. Make them squires or assistants or whatever. 0-level characters if you want. Start them off there. That would be my suggestion. So, great question. So, all right. Hey, Anna gave us a long game, something that happened, you know, something where she got flustered slightly, right? With the don't go to that building.
Exactly. Sometimes the players they if you just describe something and that's the general advice. If you just describe something, the players take it like, oh, we need to go there, and then they just run. So at least have some sort of, if you include something in a description or whatever, it can be a drawing on the wall, it can be something seen at a distance, or something, a person sitting in a inn or whatever. The players can see that as, oh, that's the next quest giver, or that's the next clue, or the next whatever. So always be ready to jump on it, and if possible, you should jump on it. Let the players jump on it, and then, but the other part, don't turn everything they see and jump on into the major lead to Thurston's return, or whatever it is. That is the meaning everything doesn't evolve. The whole world doesn't evolve around whatever the big quest is, so to speak. I think someone called it the snowball campaign or something, meaning whatever you do, everything ties into the story, and no matter what they do, the players do, and the characters do, and the players want them to do, then everything ties back to let the world be bigger than the story.
Absolutely. 100%, Anna. It's I hate to do this, but it goes back to Tolkien. First book, Farmer Giles of Ham, he saves the village. Second book, you know, The Hobbit, they save, you know, they save the Lonely Mountain, you know, they save the dwarves, and then they start saving the world after that, right? So it's like,
and that's a general advice. Don't run end of the world campaigns. That's a general advice. Skip those.
No, I agree 100%. That's a great point.
When people ask me about D&D that don't know D&D, and I try to explain what it's like, I tend to use Star Wars as the example.
That's good.
Where Luke starts off, he's a first level, 0 level character. He meets Obi-Wan. There's a simple mystery. There's the message that R2-D2 has from Princess Leia. Yeah, actually, I picked that up.
My wife got it for me.
And he starts small, and he meets another person to join the party, Han Solo, and through the movies, he moves from local small mystery to the next level, and eventually he ends up with the big bad, and there's the big boss fight, right? And through those 6 movies, episodes 4 through 9, it's very much a D&D style campaign, starting small and local to the climbing up to bigger and bigger fish until you get to the top, right?
That's true.
And
that's a great example.
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
Also, if you want to, I think one of the things that leads into society influences, right?
Oh yeah.
So fantasy and fantasy books that you read in like fantasy shows tend to probably more so books than shows, because the shows for the most part are kind of grim, which are good. You know, so but they have epic fantasy. So if you want to read something that's gonna give you some ideas on how to run campaigns that are not as epic, go read the pulp stuff. That stuff is really good. It's not earth-shattering. Conan was never trying to really save the world. That never happened in any of Conan's books, right? It may, at least not the ones that Howard wrote.
Right.
So, and it's the same thing with like a lot of that pulp stuff. It has a lot of great adventure, but none of this stuff is like, well, if they don't survive, everybody dies, right? So,
but and now I'm going to contradict my advice, kind of, because you can have an end of the world, but it should not be the world. You can have an end of the party, end of the barony, end of a city, end of something local. Meaning you can, I use taking a country or wiping out a city with all its inhabitants and stuff like that. Local calamities, even regional ones, should be part of the game, but not, you don't want to obliterate the whole world. That might be a little bit too much, I think.
Yeah, for long-term campaigns, you don't want that.
You don't want to risk the world.
It's sort of like, I don't know how many Dragon Ball people are out there. I know it from my son. And if you watch the progression of the Dragon Ball series, it's just, oh, this guy's the super most powerful guy ever. Oh, wait, no, this guy is. Oh, no, wait, this guy is. No, wait, this guy is. And that's basically, if you start off really big, well, where else do you go?
Right.
You know, you just keep getting bigger, and it's
so true. So true. If you have ever noticed, very rarely does my campaign affect the greater Greyhawk setting campaign. I'm not there to have, like, for example, this is why I hate the Doom Grinder so much. I hate a cigar ship riding and just driving right through Greyhawk in the city and destroying it. Where do I go from there? You know what I mean? Right, Dennis? I mean, plus it's stupid. You know, so it's just like, oh.
Yeah, my Doom Grinder is different as well.
Yeah, it's just, you may want the end of the world being possible, as Tim, the players are helpless to do anything about it. So, for the most part, yeah, and we're not uber adventure leveling characters ever. So, good advice. Conan was always doing adventures on the sidelines. Yeah, and that's true. So, there you go. Touch of Evil. Yep, Dragon Ball fans. Because we all have our little side gigs that we all are into. You know, it's all good. Can't live Dungeons and Dragons 24/7. Or can you? So
try
almost. Yep.
So
we keep going through hiatuses, so it's hard to plan.
Right.
My player's watching here, Rick, and he's messaging saying how we're.
Rick's watching.
Yeah, Rick's watching. When Malin and Elendary out and about, it's
oh cool.
Pretty serious stuff, but that's the high level. But we also have the low level stuff. He's got his Spelljammer group that's out and about, and another one that's starting to get into the Greyhawk Wars stuff. And so we've got characters of all levels and all different magnitudes of story. Like some of them are dealing with just local stuff and solving a problem in the town, and others are dealing with, planetary or bigger questions. And so we've got everything in between as well.
Yeah, I feel for you, Dennis, because I know, how much it sounds like you miss playing, right? And I know real life gets in the way a lot. I mean, look, Tim's on now, but Tim played at some points. He'd only play once every 2 years because he's in Korea or he's wherever. He's he's in Italy or Sorry, Tim, but so it was like I always look forward to the holidays to get him around. But then he has to see his family and all. So I saw him, very infrequently until he came back, and so it's just and that's why he's never mysterious. So but that's always a gut wrenching thing. So. Someone had to defend Tuscany. Yeah, well, I can. The Leaning Tower may have fallen over when you were there. So, yeah.
Well, Luke is working on that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Luke and Stefan. Stefan's filling it with beer.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Will, how about you? I got one for you that I know, a curveball and a problem. I hate to bring it up. Spiders.
Ooh. Spiders, as in to, like...
Women don't like spiders.
That's all the more reason to use them in my
No, I'm using the example of him getting nicked off of a stream channel as a curveball.
Oh,
yeah, remember because of that comment.
Oh, it wasn't about spiders.
I thought it was. Okay. I'm sorry.
Oh no. No. We can't even go into it. I'll remind you off the air. We can't go into it because
Okay.
No.
But that throws a wrench right into things. Yeah, and that's the politics end of it. So, how about outside in your own campaign? Do you have another instance of curveballs that come up or issues when you're trying to run something long term, adventure, campaign, any of it? For you, Will.
Well, I mean, that whole thing about being able to get together to play the game is one thing, right?
Yep.
So. I think there's no greater enemy in D&D than being able to schedule the game, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I would have to say again, it's so many other things always go into your group. The group that you play with means everything, right? Yep. So don't be afraid to to find other players, right? Or try to find players that are willing to, because there's always players out there to find. You know, it's just, I know I always hear about, oh, I live in Alaska, or I live in, you know, BFE over here, and you know, I
In
can't.
today's online, if you're willing to run games online,
Exactly.
then you have opportunities.
It's not as good. Like I ran right before I left and went out to Ohio, I ran a in-person game. Tony, the guy who used to stream with
Tony's
me on
cool.
Wednesdays, Tony came into town to go to Casa Bonita with me, and we took it as an opportunity.
Oh, that's
we
awesome.
had an in-person game, and this was the first time I'd run in person with Tony ever. And my brother played, and I hadn't played in person with him for, gosh, forever. I can't even remember the last time I played with him. And it's not as, online's not as good as in person, never will be. But
No.
I mean, you can still get your fix by playing online, right? And it is insanely easy. The number one thing that I hear anybody talk about that they don't like playing online, and it's like, well, have you done it? And I'll, no. I'm like, well, trust me, it's not hard. Don't be afraid of it. You know, you got a lot of people who are not tech savvy. Say, trust me, they build these things for idiots like me to be able to do it. I was able to stream, and I'm, you know, so it's something.
And there are
that
actually benefits of running online, meaning for me,
Yeah.
I love the fact that I have all the computing power. I can use tools to visualize the game better than around the table, actually. And you have your own bathroom, your own kitchen, and stuff like that on standby.
Right.
So those are, and the commute
Your
to
own
and from
bathroom,
the
that's
game
good,
is very, very quickly done, so to speak. So those are huge pluses. And as long as people are willing to use a decent headset and a webcam, then I'm fine. Then I'm almost as good, so to speak. The problem comes when the people don't want to show on camera, their microphone and audio and all that quality is crappy, and the internet connection is bad and stuff like that. Then it becomes more of a technical hassle.
Yeah. So I guess I'm an exception again. I will remote in a whole group and play on my table.
Yeah, okay. Which is kind of cool, because then you can still use all your.
Awesome that
but
you have the
most of us
ability
don't have a 8x8 foot game table in a whole basement dedicated to.
You always tell me, Anna, I need to do this and this and get cameras on the ceiling and all this stuff. You guys can build. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we can.
So
give us 20 years. And
well, it took a long time to figure it out.
Exactly. You didn't do it overnight.
No, here's been my challenges last 3 weeks, and you all know this on Thursdays. So I have my core group. I don't count Tim because Tim rarely can make it on Thursday night. So I got Bill out because his son's in hockey and he's an assistant coach, so he's been out like every Thursday. I got Alan in Hawaii. So I have Tom and Walt for 2 weeks. And I'm like, what the hell am I going to do now? So then I asked Coco and I asked Curtis to come on the first week, right? So that works. Then the second week, I thought I had Bill, and then Bill had to drop. So then I had Coco in, so I had them working. The last Thursday, I had everyone else out. I had them all out. I had all but Alan out. So then I said, you know what? I'm just running a full game from the people that did the Hateful Wars scenario, and I added, Darling was in, Cord, Coco. Oh my God, my brain just shut down. Who was the fourth person?
That other guy. Wasn't it the other Tim?
Oh yeah, Stronghold Tim. Right? Stronghold Tim, right? Did he play? No, he didn't play. He DM'd.
I don't know, dude.
Oh my God, my brain's off.
Holy shit. That's the last one I remember you doing.
Oh my God. No, Timothy wasn't on Thursday night. He was DMing himself. Holy shit. So, man, I feel like an idiot now. So the point is
it's age, man. I'm right there with you.
It's age, and all
I forget relatives. I was back in Ohio, and I was like, I should know your name.
Rain roll of 1.
Yep.
See, watch this. I'm gonna be embarrassed. So I'm gonna do this. So I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go to the adventure log. And I'm gonna go EV, and I'm gonna bring up the banner, and I'm gonna go. I gotta apologize to this person. 1076. No. Oh, that's this one coming up. Jesus. Sorry. My God. This is really embarrassing. It's embarrassing as hell. It is.
Could be worse.
Oh my God, it was
Well,
Curtis.
just do
I was
whatever a good
Curtis. I had
DM.
Curtis again. It was
Well,
Curtis.
Curtis is forgettable. Is he?
Yeah.
I
Do
hope I
It
didn't
was
whatever.
break
Curtis
that
again.
joke.
I had Bongo Boy. I had Fred. Yeah. Oh God.
Do whatever a good DM does. Fake it.
I do it all the time.
Yeah.
All right. How many times? You guys can all say yes to. How many times? And I'm not talking about in a sandbox style. I'm talking about. Oh, it could be too. But Anna said this happened. How many times we had the problem in any game where you forgot something that you wrote down and it was very important, or you had something that's very important that they missed, and you got to get them in on that piece because it's very vital. I mean, that happens to me all the time, right?
When I first was playing, yes,
right,
but not. I've been a big time improvisational DM now for a long time. So the past 20 years, I write an outline, and then we go from there. For example, when this adventure that we did before I left to Ohio, the main bad guy was an aboleth, right?
Nice. Hey, darling.
And the aboleth was brainwashing population and all kinds of good stuff and whatnot. And as the guys are going along, they were all like, "Oh, it's a vampire. It's got to be a vampire." And he's brainwashing people, and then they started coming up with all these other great like hypothesis and stuff, and they were so proud of themselves. So I made it a vampire. I just took it and I changed it, and it's like, okay, well, we'll do this now. And the way I DM, it makes it very easy for me to do that sort of thing.
Okay.
I have outlines, I have different stuff along those lines, but I know what you're talking about. Because back when I first was DMing, I would have the adventure, I'd have it, either it was a pre-written one or I went through and wrote up a whole different thing. And so I would be placing different things to help direct them back onto paths if they were getting off said path. I don't do that anymore. It's like the adventure could die right here in this tavern, and then which is you can't do for streaming though. You can't do for streaming.
Yeah.
If it's just in person at the house, I would come up with something interesting on there. I always just play off of their paranoias too. That's always usually the easiest way to go about it.
And there's things that you have in your back pocket, right? We all have those little tidbits where, all right, I have this. Some people call it, like Tim, DM's crushing fist. Mm-hmm. So if he needs to bring out the fist, he will, for some reason he will, right? That's one of those times where you just gotta. And trust me, I've been the wrath of that a couple times. So in all the years, but
yeah. I did when I was stressed. Now, when I ran my game at Game Hall, I halfway through there was an encounter that was supposed to be with a major Iusian priest and stuff, and I had him statted up, but I forgot about it. It was so loud or whatever came in. So when they started attacking him, I realized, damn, he had all these cool things he could do, and I forgot about them. I didn't do it. So he just died, and I didn't. No, he just became an insignificant little Iusian whatever, and I had to reintroduce the proper one later in so to speak, because I was I forgot about it. So okay, let's go and whatever. So then just go and reintroduce him later in the story. So that happens at times that I've screwed up, especially when you run like stressed con game where you have to do all the stuff and they rush into the thing, and then oh damn, I didn't even had the page up. I just put it there. So
there's always and this applies to short con games too, right? DM, you gotta be fleet on your feet, right? You have to. Unlike me, we're walking around with a cane right now, but I'm talking about mentally, so yeah, you need to be.
That's where I have the most difficult. Home games, no problem, because I have all the prep around. I've been thinking about it. We can ease into it. We can take our time. If something takes half an hour longer, it doesn't matter. It can always be pushed to the next session. But a con game, then all of a sudden we have these hours and you have to squeeze it in. So then I just go, and I was like, oh damn, character should have used this or whatever, and so on. And at the end, I simply now you had to let them win quicker. At the end, and I use the blackguard, and I realized no, he's not going to use its main defense because they needed a quick win, so to speak. So yeah,
this is almost turning into a DM discussion, which is cool too. So here's another one. Give me something, and I'll give mine first so you don't feel bad. Give me something that you do as a DM that other people may go, that's a little, wow, I'm shocked, or okay, it works. I'll give you mine. Behind my screen is a variable number of encounter pieces depending on how the parties are doing, right?
Oh yeah.
So especially on a stream where I have a special group, my guys, I'll throw everything at them. But in a special group, I may have, like, I'll give you an example. Thursday night, due to time and due to how long the initial meetup meant, I had 7 war ogres behind the screen. I only used 5 of them because I knew if I cut those 2 out, it's probably saved 20 minutes. You know, so I was happy. I was really glad Darling, she was going to leave at 10, but Darling stuck because she wanted to kill that dragon. But I was happy about, I was kind of pushing it. So yeah.
But
so
that's one of my similar trick that I do. I don't introduce all the enemies in an encounter right away. You put them in waves because that way you can hold them back or push more in as needed, so to speak. So you set up the encounter with a few enemies that the players detect that engage in combat first, and then you see how that goes. If the characters are killing it outright, you send in the next 2 waves immediately, or you simply have the enemies flee, and then you move on the story. But because if sometimes I did the mistake of just sending all of them in right away and overwhelm the poor characters, and we have a TPK almost immediately. So sometimes you want to get a feel, but I try to think of it from the enemy's perspective, meaning if the characters are in a goblin lair and they're trying to kill all of them, I wouldn't hesitate. Then the goblins, all 60 goblins, will attack the characters at once, so to speak, because they're fighting against the wall. And the players should realize that. But if they are out in the field and there are ways to flee or whatever, then the enemy becomes more like the big bad. He sends in the first 5 to see what happens, and these poor goblins will be the scapegoats, or the ones that will face the wrath of the enemy first, and then he will see how well the characters do. If they do badly, he will send in more. If they do really, really well, he will run for it for the hills, so to speak. So that is something, and that I think is a tips. It's not always fair because sometimes you hold it back for the fun of the game, and sometimes you simply this is a part of the story, and these goblins have been here for 200 years, and these characters aren't going to end their presence, so to speak. So it's and sometimes the players should be able to, or ought to be able to, read the story, but not necessarily, because some players are stubborn as hell. They're going to go in and kill everything literally, and that
those
can
are
be
the ones
hard.
I generally kill.
Yeah, it can be. So that is something that sometimes I feel I'm proud of it. Sometimes I feel like, damn, that was probably not a good idea to do it that way. So yeah.
My stuff is flexible. No, I guess not. It fluctuates. That's the word I was looking for. Everything I do is fluctuates, except I'll have certain things that are very static, but those things are the super deadly things that are telegraphed, right? Mm-hmm. Like if I talk about there's a master swordsman that is, basically runs the town, and you're talking about like a big town, and he's been able to defeat all comers for the past 10 years, and your 3rd level character is going to stroll up in there and thinks like he's going to get a piece of that action. Well, he's going to get some, and then he'll just be, I probably won't kill him. I definitely am also maiming or teaching a lesson to somebody who does, goes up against something that they shouldn't be. It's one thing to just walk up to some guy, take your glove off, and smack him in the face. It's another to have like a whole A-team plan to try and take him out. I'll work with that, So, but normally everything I have is on a sliding scale, which will tend to drive people who are, I guess, long-term players who tend to fall back on, I know that monster. I know that spell.
Yeah.
It throws them because
good.
they don't know what to expect out of it.
One thing that I can be difficult as a DM towards players is if I have a player who consistently try to figure out how to rig the game, meaning how to use the rules to work. Like if I do this, then I get that advantage all the time. Then I will rig the next encounter in a way that if they do this, then that will be a negative, so to speak. If they always say, "Oh, I'm going to buff like hell for this," and because that gives me, or if I always say I'm doing this every time, that gives me a chance. Then I will read the rules and then rig the next encounter just to do it. If they consistently try to use the rules to their advantage all the time, then I'm going to rig an encounter to use the rules to my advantage just to prove the point that is not fun, so to speak, because and it's sad that I can be vengeful that way.
That is
a
couple of times. Really mean thing to do, Anna.
Oh yeah, I know, but it's also a way of killing the fun on both sides, because I feel that we both are guilty that way, because I don't think that the game should be played that way either by the players or the DM, so to speak.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right, Dennis. Rick's watching now. You got to impress him.
Yeah, Rick managed to figure out how to message in the stream.
Yeah, so which is great. Now tell him to follow too. Hit the heart button, dude.
He's my main player.
That is awesome. And you've known him as long as I've known my guys, right? You were talking about 40 years.
Oh yeah. No,
that's great.
I've known him since the very beginning, the early 80s. So yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, just to kind of tie it back to what you were mentioning before about people missing stuff sometimes, and not everybody picks up everything that you try to telegraph to them, but sometimes there have been times where there's something that was important that Rick didn't catch up on, and I'm like, well, okay, your character, now keep in mind we're talking 2E rules, right? Your character is an intelligence of 22. You personally have an intelligence of maybe 15.
Mm-hmm.
Your character may be able to figure this out, even if, you can't. The guy running the character can't. So I'll have him roll dice on it. Roll against your intelligence to figure out something that you missed. I've done that a few times.
But that's when I always try to have the general rule of explaining the world through the character's eyes.
Right.
So if a player who never played in GREYHAWK before, they play an experienced character, you tell the player all the things that the character should know.
Your character should know this.
Yeah.
Right. So so
then
you tell them.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a good rule to use, so to speak, that makes the game more interesting over time.
So one other thing, as another example of things I'll do, if the characters do something and they do a stat roll or whatever, and I roll some things behind the screen, healing or whatever. As an example, Curtis's character is a bard, and he legendored 2 things on Thursday night. This is Frederick Coldwell, Fritz's long distant ancestor cousin, right? He made the first one, and remarkably, kind of failed the second one, but I told him he made it because I wanted them to hear the story. Right, minor thing. It didn't affect the game at all, but they did the right thing. I wanted him to hear. I wanted the whole party to hear a story about the character that they uncovered. The tomb of, and so that's what I did. It wasn't a game breaker.
Yeah.
In the old days, I would have said, you don't know, and Tim would have gotten pissed, and they were like, well, why not, and so,
But I was thinking one aspect, to go back to the main topic again with the long game.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of cool to tie back. If you played, I've done several times in my campaign, when you played for 2-3 years and you played like 40-50 sessions, it's fun to go back to the same location where you started.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That is so cool, because when you started and the players are like zero level, first level, and the characters and they go around and they're these feeble and meaning a rat can kill them or the local pigeon life is dangerous, so to speak, and then they come back as 10th level and they can rule the place. That can be a fun session, and you can go back and find some of these old hoodlum that are also leveled up a little, but not as much as the characters. That can be fun sessions.
Now, I've had characters go back to the same locations multiple times, and sometimes they've been separated by real decades of play.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
That's
and
great.
that I've used that to solve problems. I had a group that was running on one of my campaign threads that was an important thread to resolving the great mysteries of my main kind of thrust, but they were a group of grad students at the university that I was at the time. And well, it got to a point where they graduated and left, and the campaign ended, or those party members weren't. And so, 10 years later, I had another party run by Rick, basically, go to that location and pick up the thread. Now they're following. Actually, hang on here. I created a kind of a graphic a while ago.
Yeah, if you can. The problem is if you put it in chat, I'm not going to be able to pop up the chat. You want to throw it in my Discord?
No, what is it possible to? No, you don't have your screen sharing, eh?
No, it'll crash. It'll crash the stream.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me.
Is it if it's a link to put it in my Discord? If it's a link to your page.
No, it's a file.
All right, put it in. Is it under 8 megs?
Can I just load it into Discord?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay,
let's copy.
Dun dun dun. Here we go. Awesome.
Paste.
What's Rick's main character's name?
He has a few. He's got a relatively high level. Well, he plays Malden and Ellendary when we're running.
Oh, okay.
Right. He plays.
Oh, I didn't get that yet, Dennis, by the way.
Oh, there's a Halloweeny thing here. That's.
Should you look away? Don't. I don't know about that. What were we gonna say, Will? It sounded like you were gonna say something.
Oh, I was just gonna say next time that I intend on running something long term, or I don't even. It doesn't even have to be long term, but I'm gonna start up a new campaign that I intend to have it be long.
All right.
I'm gonna pretty much do like this, or do how you do, Jay.
Awesome.
I'm gonna start logging the sessions.
Yeah,
and then I'll have a master book for it, just so that there's so much that you can get out of that. I mean, it's like you get so much more more things to run off of stuff that you did before, right?
Absolutely.
And you just go dig back through, and it's like, oh yeah, I forgot about this, or it's like, oh, I meant to do this with this. I've never gotten around to doing that.
And Will, it gets into even more detail. Why wasn't I writing the adventure number on top of the sheet in the books I was doing? Because I'm like, oh my gosh, which one's that? Now I got to look it up and cross-reference it. How dumb was I? Not to put adventure number 865 down on something. It's just crazy. But yeah, absolutely, more details about it. Here we go. Here's this is cool, man. You didn't show this to us on your anniversary stream there, man. So cool.
Yeah, no, it just kind of illustrates the different party threads, and how one way of the way I do it. One way of doing it is by keeping. If you've got an idea of where you're going, the orange dot says the big ending of the campaign. You've got a whole bunch of locations. Each of those, the red and the black circles, places where things have to happen or characters have to go, and it doesn't matter which party does it. And so we've got cases where the pink or the reddish or purplish circles are places where different parties could ended up there and solve that particular problem. And so you have the kind of the light colors are where like the top the topmost purple circle there.
Yeah.
Is an intersection between red and blue. Well, either the blue party or the red party could have ended up there. It turned out that the red party ended up there and solved that step of the puzzle, right? And there are cases where the black circles are where more than one party ended up at the same location, often at different times. It can't be at the same time, but they, you know, ran into the same information, ran into the same group of whatever.
Yeah.
I love that
world,
Maldin's anastomosing plot
threads.
That's the Gygaxian style word.
Or Leonard talks like that.
All of the circles represented adventures that I wanted done. But it kind of didn't matter which party got there. And I let the players drive the directions that they were going in. Right?
That is a great point.
Mm-hmm.
Great point. And that's how you get your players to come back. Have them vested. Great point.
You keep it unpredictable.
Yeah. Absolutely. You keep having, oops, I didn't want to share that yet. That's all right. Yeah, you keep it. I appreciate you sharing that. I never had Anna. I've never seen that before. No. So that was cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I whipped it up at some point. Originally, I was going to create a web page about plant.
Yeah, you have to put there, and now you have to put that in the glossary, gaming glossary, and whatever the word was, I forgot now.
Yeah.
But that's so cool. And
keeping track of stuff like that makes your future games, I'm sure. At least for me, I would think it would make it so much easier, you know.
Yeah.
And what I have is I've got a master, and Rick's going to hate it when I say this, the timeline. He hates the timeline. I have a master timeline that goes back all the way to minus 15,000 years.
Wow.
I'm working on my timeline too. And in the beginning, the first 10 years, I didn't do it. But the last 20 years, I keep a timeline. I put sessions, but the important thing is I put sessions under the day they're happening. So
my gosh.
Okay.
So it's the calendar is there, and I put in other events that happen around on the same day, so to speak. And there are different events. So now in my Obsidian notes, I can go back, and I think the oldest are about 30,000 years ago, that the history I build backwards too, so to speak. So I try to, because that way, and I tag them with the places that things happen. So I can go to a place and see all the things that have happened there throughout history, which is really cool, because that ties in, that old oak, they buried someone there 600 years ago after a battle, blah, blah, or something like that. You find these little local legends can become much more real. When it's like in the Shieldlands, when I read the history of the Shieldlands, I realized that you had that guy that thought he was Vecna reincarnated and who ran it for a while, and then I realized he was active here. So I read his story, I wrote it down, I put the locations and the dates in, and that way when I got to the location in my campaign, I can go back and see what happened 160 years ago or 200 years ago or something, when Halmarda the Cruel was active and when he was crushed and his men was buried and blah, blah, blah. And that tied every little place, got something fun out of it that built the story of the foundation of my campaign, so to speak, which is so you can use lore just to spice up the place.
Well, I'll send you another file here, Jay.
Let me reopen Discord. So Will, on a learn, as Dennis is sending that to me, what's a trick that you do for DMing or long-term plotting or whatever that
You know what? Believe it or not, I have a lot of hopes of what I would like to do. Because when it comes to long-term games, I've never really had long-term games.
I thought the one group you had on the stream was 3 years.
Yeah, but we didn't do the consistent. It was not the same thing.
Okay.
Basically, what we did was we did seasons, right? So like with the Wednesday crew, I ran 3 separate GREYHAWK.
So you ran Adventure Pass. Okay, that's all right.
Basically. And it was more of just a story. Now I didn't close them off. I didn't say that I would never come back to them.
Right.
But I always found myself going, ooh, this will be really cool, and then running off to some other place or doing some other thing. And it's a good problem when you have so many different people that can run.
God.
So like Tony would run, Dylan ran within that group as well.
Right.
So I wasn't the primary. I wasn't the only one that was running. The longest running one I had would have to have been Return to the Bandit Kingdoms.
Yeah.
Because I ran Return to the Bandit Kingdoms for 2 years. It was over 2 years. So, and I can't really say, because I think that's like just bordering on when you're starting to get long term, right? That's why I look at these sort of things and these like myths. I think that's a great idea. That's something that I would implement.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Make up just a ton of myths, put them around in different places, and you don't have to activate them, or anything. They're just there. And then if somebody comes along or if it fits and whatnot, then you can activate it.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping track of all your adventures is a gold mine for
wait do you see this thing Dennis gave me? It's nuts. So I'm going to give you a myth or legend that is not published source, but it's third party. I think it did appear in Dragon that I've used. That's Joe Block's Crovis.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea. I've implemented it into my game in the Pomage where,
And from what I've heard, Crovis plays a part in the new stories of GREYHAWK in the new DMG, if I remember correctly. Yes. Yep.
Well,
not much longer. We'll find out.
We'll find out.
Exactly. I've heard rumors about that.
Curious, because they dialed it back, but yet at the same time they've made changes. So I'm curious as to what those changes are. And I gotta say, I'm not mad that they dialed it back. Actually, I'm kind of happy with that, because the previous GREYHAWK material, like the GREYHAWK Wars and all that different stuff, that's great stuff, right? Don't get me wrong. And if you want to run it within that period, excellent, go right ahead. There's nothing saying that you can't do that.
Yeah.
But I like that earlier time period now way more than any of the later ones that came, right? Because it's
Space Ghost, they didn't make any major changes.
Way more stuff.
They probably implemented some stories that were like on the fringe before, so I don't think they did major changes to lore. We'll find out. But once again, you can use whatever you want, so don't worry about it. I wouldn't worry.
What I've heard is that basically this is more or less they picked up the folio, and then they changed it a little.
It's okay.
It's pretty much what, and if you think about it, page count wise,
it's about the same as the original folio.
Yeah, it's about the same. So that's sounding pretty accurate. I'm just curious as far as what else they're going to drop in there as far as like gods or stuff like that. So,
all right. So this looks like wow. This is multiple party timelines.
This is how I keep track.
Oh my gosh.
So this is only the last 2 pages of an 8-page timeline. This is the version that Rick has. So he's not seeing anything that he hasn't seen.
Oh my gosh.
But this is the one that goes back 15,000 years eventually. The first couple of pages, it's hundreds of years per inch.
Right.
I'm so glad, Dennis, that I'm not the only one who goes back. So thank you, Dennis. You made me, save my day.
So it goes, when you get into the more recent years, when the players have been running, then it goes month by month. And so this is how I keep track. The red column is the kind of campaign universal events that are happening.
Okay.
Right. Like the start of the wars and stuff like that. Like things that have nothing to do with the players personally. They're just the stuff that's going on in the world.
Okay.
And then the different colors are the main different parties. So there's Malin and Elendary is blue, Borb, Harm, and so on.
Wow.
And so this is the only way I can keep track of when the different parties interact, and they interact all the time. When can they interact and where can they interact, right? And so so you can see
awesome.
where I've placed some of the, like we've run Needle, for example, Wandering Trees, Salt Marsh, right? Those are the times where those characters, where it fits into my timeline.
Resurrection and Magic Shop.
Well, and then this is something that got put into the the Living Greyhawk Journal. The magic shop was attacked
okay.
a few years before and shut down for a while. Well, they were attacked by a Sul Lich and his army of
I love Sul Liches.
demon creatures. And so, yeah, so there were some resurrections that had to have been done, actually, because there were a lot of henchmen that got axed. But yeah.
Borb and Matt Aladdin travel into the past. Nice.
Yeah, that was and that's described on my website as well. When they travel to the day or the week of the Invoked Devastation. All right.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a web page on my website. There's a description of their adventure of that week when, well, at least in my campaign, the PCs were responsible for, triggering the twin cataclysms.
Nice.
Wow.
They're very sorry. They're very sorry that they
was it
almost
like
ended the world. And
our
very
fault.
sorry.
apologize.
Yep.
They apologize.
Was it a Jerry
Wow.
Lewis sort of like
That's
in the
a
laboratory
major disaster
mistake?
at work, so to speak. Yep.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder what this book says. Let me read it aloud.
Yeah, exactly. Stand here and read it.
If you jump to my Secrets of the Twin Cataclysms webpage, that adventure is described there. The adventure is described there of what the PCs did and how they interacted with the actual twin cataclysms. But that's when it happens in our timeline. That's when they go back for that. Yeah, when Harm got his Harm is Rick's main character that's doing the Spelljammer stuff. So when he got his ship and is traveling around the crystal spheres, and so that's all in there. But
all right, Space Ghost, we'll answer that question. I'm going to tell you what I would do. This is and then I'm going to comment on this because this is this is like my head is about to explode because I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to do this for 28 parties?
I don't know if you can do it. For I'm having trouble enough doing it for 5 main ones and then other peripheral parties.
Right.
But I don't know how you'd be able to do that with 28 parties.
My campaign is bad TV editing style, where there's a lot of flashbacks and it doesn't. This group here may be adventuring, but this group I'm doing next week, the adventure is actually a month before the other group. I don't need to even tell you, right? It's not lineal as it goes, right? That's the way I do it. That's the easiest way to do it because then I don't need to get this level of detail. Now I know Anna's loving this.
Mm-hmm.
Anna loves this and probably loves this too. I with my style, it would never work. But I respect the hell out of it. Halmadar kills Circle of 8. There's a big one right there. So you have it down here.
Yeah,
I do lots of.
That's where that falls into there.
Yeah, that's cool.
When the hierarchs are assassinated in Molag, that's there as well. You can see that my Greyhawk Wars actually starts later than
mine starts 10 years late, Dennis.
Yeah.
In the timeline. So
yeah. Move it around to when you need it. Move it around to when you need it.
You're
100%.
Yeah. And one of the tricks that I use in order to, if I have players who are into Greyhawk, so to speak, but I know that my lore is different from the when I've added to or shifted things around a bit, then what I do is that I don't kind of tell them, okay, my Greyhawk, blah, 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 and go on for half an hour.
Right.
I try to really avoid that. I go very local and I just tell them what they see and what they hear and what they do and keep doing that. Because if you've done that long enough, you build a picture. So that player, when they play that character, they can start accepting it because this is the campaign reality, so to speak.
Yeah, Space Ghost, that's a great answer to your question, what Anna just said.
Yeah, so try to go from the ground up. Don't try to first have a lecture of half an hour saying, oh, this is my campaign, we do it this way, and blah, 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 and so on. Skip that part. Just tell them what the characters experience. Then when the players ask, like, what do my character know about this? That's when you fill in the detail when the player is asking for them. I know it's very hard, and it's really hard for me because I would love to sit and talk lore for 3 hours, but I try really, really, really hard when I'm a DM to not do that, so to speak.
Yeah.
But a little lore is not bad, especially if it pertains to the actual adventure they're on.
Exactly,
You
but
know?
always try to ground it from the bottom up, so to speak.
Yes.
Meaning, what is the
Make it
reality
localized.
on the ground
Yep,
around
yep,
where
yep,
the
yep.
character are, and build from that. And then when the characters, and my general advice is that you need to prep and have details that is one layer deeper than the players ask for, so to speak, to make the world believable. It's really hard to accomplish it, but there should be prep and stuff. You should know what's over the horizon, but you don't need to know any further than that. But in case they go up on the top of the hill and look, you should have an idea what's there, so to speak. But then if they go down and then look on the next hill, then okay, no, that's
awesome.
it. But always plan one step ahead of the players and try to, so to speak. And it's hard, but I try to. And when I succeed with that, then the players can get that full immersion of everything around them, have an explanation if they ask for it, and don't shove it down their throats, so to speak. If when they ask for it, it should be there, so to speak.
So, Will, what are your suggestions to Space Ghost on that again?
One thing that I did, that I took from, actually, I started doing this streaming, and then I took it and I loved it, and I started using it everything that I do when necessary. I do cutscenes.
Oh,
and
goodness.
basically what I'll do is I will have pre-generated characters. For example, when I did the Streets of Luskin, right? Or no, not Luskin, County of Ernst, not County Ernst, Duchy Ernst, the capital where the Duke is. On the near div.
It's
Anyway.
right side of the map, so
yeah. Anyway, so when I was doing that and they were playing the City Watch, right? I did cutscenes with the underground and the gangs. So I would put them in a tavern, and I just gave them all the character. Yeah. It's like, here you go. So you're playing this character from this gang, and you're playing this character from this gang, and so forth. And then I would just run an encounter with them that had some sort of importance to the story, right? And then, I did the same thing with the Renee that were there. And then later on, as they were the
back in 1 minute.
Sure.
As they were the watch going about and following up on the stories, they came into contact with, and they couldn't, it's like they can't really play off of it. It's like, but remember when we were role playing and we were the guys from the gang, and then we had that fight in the alleyway with those guys outside the bar and whatnot. These are those bodies, and know, and so, and I would use cutscenes to give information. So as opposed to giving them like a info dump or whatnot, we will play a cutscene.
A nice little descriptive visual.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And it stuck.
Yeah.
Because they role played it, and the importance of it was a big thing. Like I had in the one in Return to the Bandit Kingdoms, they actually played the hit squad that was going out to kill them in a scene. And so they understood how deadly these guys were, because some of them got to play some of those characters, right? So later when those names started popping up that, hey, so-and-so is looking for you, and like, oh, okay, I know who that guy is, so.
So here's an example, Space Ghost, of something you can do. Well, Ever Mysterious Tim is joining us. So, and Curtis is on now, and he wasn't on earlier when I said I fudged the second legend lore roll so that he made it, and we learned. Oh gosh, there
he's got the whole thing happening there.
So he legend lured the information on Kirkias the Benevolent, and it turns out this guy was the governor of the Ulick states back when Keoland had control of the area, but he was very benevolent, and the demi-humans actually got along with him, and there was these great raids that were coming well before the Hateful Wars and all, and he led a fight into the Lord Mills, and he disappeared, and they lost him, and now they have found his tomb finally, and that was with the dragon after all that time. So guess where that character appears in published source?
City of Greyhawk box set.
He doesn't.
Oh.
I made it up.
Can't do
Jeez.
that, Jay. It's not
You
canon.
liar.
DMs never make up stuff.
Exactly.
Come on.
You see, I added my own lore. Here comes Skagith all the way from, and Rethix re-upped, and Skagith is here now. All the way from, we got a bunch of Swedes on tonight, which is awesome.
It's great.
So it's good to see you, dude. So the point is, don't be afraid to throw in some of your own. Man, I can never find his shout out. Skagith, it's good to see you. There we go. Don't be afraid to throw out your own lore. That doesn't break anything. All right, the governor of it did nothing. It did nothing to affect all the chain of the Keelan Kings. Nothing, right? But it added in a name. Hey, Gargamon, good to see you too. So, and the ever mysterious Tim, what's going on, dude?
Hello. I have a bone to pick with you. You need to explain something.
Go for it.
What's the damn crushing fist that you mentioned?
That's you. That's you. When you want to, come on. You want me to tell the story?
I'm not sure what story you're referring
All right.
to.
Here's one that I went through. He had a hallway once with 100 traps, and I had to get through all of them to the end where there was this big, looked like almost like a 20, 30-sided die with all these different colored triangles and stuff. You remember it now? And I got through all these traps. I'm thinking this thing's important, right? And I whacked it once. All the one color went off. I whacked it twice. The other color went off. I said, okay, I think I'll whack it a third time. This is after spending 2 hours, I think, in game time, getting through all these traps, right? Whacked it a third time. It teleported all my gear, and I was standing there naked.
That is awesome.
Do you remember that now?
Well, yeah, that part's funny.
Yeah.
Sounds like an old slaver's trick.
Yeah.
Hey,
Down the characters and let them escape.
Yeah. Hey, Harley. So that's it.
That's different than what I thought. I thought it was if people break if you have a
I'm just giving that as an example.
if you have a planned adventure and they're throwing a wrench in there, then DM's crushing fist can come down.
No, but so let's ask Tim this rhetorical question, everyone. What's the number one bug up my butt for when you guys play, or especially you, that I hate?
That you hate?
And I DM's crushing fisted immediately.
Anything that gives the party any advantage,
no.
or intelligence ahead of time. He's going to subvert it. He's not going to let you use it.
He will change the
scouting ahead. I hate scouting because it doesn't work on our table as much. No, I mean bringing all your freaking pack bearers and minions and all those guys.
You mean role playing in a fantasy world?
Yes. So what happens to all those henchmen?
You kill them. They're red shirts. That's why I had the band, the red shirts.
Yeah, exactly. I
redshirted them.
Well, because you brought them on even Anna was there.
Of course.
You brought them on purpose.
I brought them right there for you as a sacrifice. The red shirt,
What's up,
Hall
Bill?
of Fame.
Yeah, so there you go. So, Tim, give us a thing that you do for long-term campaign plot arcs.
Well, I was thinking about the long game.
Yep.
And I think that there's several versions of the interpretation of the long game.
Absolutely.
And one is built into like the fabric of the world, and that is certain enemy or opponents have an extremely long game.
Yeah, that's true.
And you think elves, oh, these humans are a problem. Well, we're going to go ahead and glacially deal with each generation of these morons till we own everything. And I won't even have, I'll still be young. I won't even be old yet. I've gone through like 10 generations of humans, and I'm now kind of in charge of everything because we've changed their whole culture and their music and everything to reflect how way we want it, because we remember and can adjust it and they can't. Same for dwarves and gnomes to a lesser extent. So that, they have that glacial presence and can change things. It's just humans are so active so early, it probably is hard for them to keep up sometimes. But the, liches, royal dynasties, magical clerical colleges all will have these long glacial goals that will be part of the long game and just part of the fabric of the world, or can be part of the fabric of the world. And your guys may not bump into them, or even just hear about them, or maybe these great grandiose things are happening and your characters are just caught up in the churn. If you're familiar with The Expanse, you know what the churn is.
Yeah. So, and Tim's a genius and I like to think I do this with against Ed too. Yeah, like using, like, he's got one of the main antitheses in his city state game is one of my old evil player characters.
That was yes,
200 years later.
That was part of the long plot points. I had everyone make evil characters. We played a session, and then I took them and aged them 200 years and made them the villains.
There you go. That's like a cutscene. See?
I'm like, yeah, he did a good job with this. I can see what kind of villain he would be.
Absolutely.
And
that's fun. It's fun.
But now in a campaign, you can have the long game in your campaign where you have plot points, and they don't have to be. They can just occur. They may not be seen or experienced by the players.
Right.
Maybe their characters never get involved in those things, but you can still have them kind of happening in the background. So it touches into rumors and things here.
So Dennis.
But eventually, the party does run into something, and then when they get the intel, they can find out how much how long these guys have been assholes for so many years.
Yeah.
Maybe every bad thing that happened to them, seeming randomly, was all part of these other guys manipulating things, not because they were interested in the characters, but just because the runoff of it affected them.
That's great, man. Yeah. So Dennis, on your main chart, you guys weren't involved in every single thing that happened in the red side. You just
no. A lot of that.
Yeah.
It all just happened independently. There are different parts of the world where some cases we never had a party in that area, right? And so, no, that was the red column is how I tie it to the published GREYHAWK timetable, right? Right. So no, a lot of those red events, they had nothing to do with the hierarchs being assassinated, for example. Right. That was all I use. No, those are bigger things that are outside of what's happening, outside of anything that the party is doing. So, but that's how I tie the characters' activities to what is going on in the world.
Cool.
It's most of which is out of their control.
Yeah. I have a new idea how I want to run my campaign or my games in the future. I want to run short campaigns that are tied together, so to speak. So there will be one overarching story, but there will be short campaigns. So I plan to do from like 1 shots to up to 10 sessions at tops, so to speak. And what I will do is that I will provide, all the players will basically play NPCs, meaning various people of various kinds that will be active in the world. They will play soldiers in the Shieldlands, elves in Selene, or whatever, so to speak. Things. They will play various creatures that will be involved in the story. And then I will simply say, well, now the Shieldlands, they need to go and do a mission behind enemy lines. These are the characters that will do it. Do you want to come and play one of the characters doing this mission?
So Vecna lives that you have the minions of the Circle of Eight in that kind of the prologue part of the adventure, right?
Yeah.
Where you get to play the Circle of Eight while they
for
get
about
killed.
10 seconds.
For a few. You kind of it sets you up as to something that's not controlled by the players in a sense. Right?
Because that way players will play a big part in shaping much bigger part in shaping my campaign, because they could play sometimes high level and depending on the players too, because I don't want to set someone who never played in my campaign and say, oh, you're going to play this really 15 level having whatever. So we could be suited to the type of player. If players come in and they then take something small, something that happens in the city or whatever, they're going to help out at a tournament and things will happen and they will be Australia or whatever. So or something. So they can be small things or big things. But I want to and that will be during the day, so to speak. So that way I can have more different players coming in and out, and they will not be long-term campaigns that go on for 5 or 10 years. There will be something that can be done over a weekend, over a convention, or over a month, or maybe 6 months at tops, so to speak.
It's good. I mean, it's a good way to,
yeah, I hope so. Yeah,
life because depending on time available, play style, your players' availability, I'm blessed, right?
Yeah,
I got
exactly.
basically 2 games a week going with a whole bunch of special people that I can call on last second sometimes. My regular people, new players all the time. I can intermix the whole thing. I'm lucky. Right.
Yeah. And I've had so many people ask me, can I play in your games? And this way, I hope that I can bring in more people to play in my game.
Yeah.
And then run a game, or hopefully in the future, when I have things set up and planned and an area mapped out, I can probably run like 2 sessions a week. That's my hope, that in the future I can be able to run 2 sessions a week.
It's a good number.
Yeah, I want to start doing that in conjunction with, because I want to start incorporating like a downtime. So it's sort of like a mix of different things, different adventuring groups, like how Jay does it, right? Different smaller campaigns. And then I intend on using sort of like the downtime that like Pendragon does, because I absolutely love that, because it just moves forward the timeline and does things. So like when the one, you're not playing with this one party, right? And they're going to be on their downtime. So when you come back to them, you'll make some rolls. See, you'll age them a little bit. You'll make rolls, see what happened to their families and different stuff, whatnot. And then that'll and then everything just keeps kind of like marching along at that pace.
No, it's smart. It's smart.
Yeah.
It really is. And that sounds like what Dennis is kind of doing with your group, right? Because you're, you got your mat.
And when you look at the timeline, you see the different parties are in different places right now, right? So it's trying to keep them all in. But and there are periods where we have to stop. We have to put that one party to rest for a while the rest of the world catches up, kind of.
And that way you can say that, okay, now these characters are retired, and then I can
hey Garner,
the players can say, well, this character will work on these things to learn for next session or something, and get better at whatever, or want to learn something, and note that, and then next time it comes, then comes into play, it's leveled up, and you know these things, and that way it will develop too. So
So I got to ask a question, because I have to, because it's driving me crazy here at Malden. It's probably a simple, oh, you should know that. I know Big Mac's probably going to jump on me. What the hell is Grela? 50 Days to Grela. What is that? Is that
Grela is one of the planets in the gray space system.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
All right, what the heck is this? All right, so purple, it looks like all gray space stuff.
Yeah, that's one of the spell jamming parties. That they're spell jamming out. One of the problems with spell jamming is an awesome system, and Rick loves it. That's his favorite, actually. That's his favorite stuff to play is a spell jam. It's the problem with Spelljammer, when you're trying to tie it with a non-Spelljammer campaign, which I'm doing, is the travel time between planets and between individual spheres. And so I have to track that travel distance. There are ways to mitigate that issue. And what we're going to be using is there's a portal that was written about in an old Polyhedron magazine, where this portal can be set to different locations depending on the key to the portal. It relates to Planescape in a sense,
right?
Because the portal opens onto Sigil,
which is the main hub city,
the hub in Planescape, right? And so Rick's characters have discovered about this portal, where now the portal is big enough to put a spell jamming ship through it. It's a huge port. It's basically it's a space.
It's a time. It's almost like what do you call it?
The Bajorian
wormhole.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a wormhole from Babylon 5.
Okay,
is what it is.
Or Stargate.
or Stargate.
And Buck Rogers, Stargate, all of
Stargates
them.
are small.
And
Stargates are
so
small.
what
though.
the task of one of those parties is, Aretheus's party, is doing research in Sigil, and she's going to be doing a bunch of adventures, Planescape adventures there,
Okay.
that ties back in. Is they're trying to find the keys so that one of the portals opens up to a cliff face on the edge of the near div. And so they can drive a spell jamming ship through there into Sigil, change the key back to another location. And so now they're going to be able to hop from Crystal Sphere to Crystal Sphere without months of travel time. This is going to solve our timeline problem by tying in this article that came out of Polyhedron ages ago.
Cool.
And so, yeah.
I'll jump on
yeah.
I'll jump on a sci-fi game. It sounds like the BattleTech jump point
Yeah.
issue. Where
Well, but it's a magical. It's
cool.
a medieval fantasy.
Problem solved.
It's a mechanic within Dungeons and Dragons Planescape, which we're co-opting to help solve a problem.
But it's magic, and they don't have to stick to Newtonian physics at all, so they can make it as fast as they want.
Yes, exactly. No, so this it was great when I discovered that article on Polyhedron. It says it's like, wow, this solves our timeline problem.
Cool.
Because when Harm's party, when it travels out to different spheres, literally it can be years of traveling to go from sphere to sphere to sphere.
Why can't a ship teleport? It's a magic ship.
Because that's not the way it works.
You always have to have limitations.
See, that's why I don't do the linear time frame, Dennis, and that would be another solving on it. Well, this group actually did this a year or two ago.
But the thing is we want the party that's spell jamming to still be able to interact with the parties that are not.
Yeah.
Right. And so I have to tie it together somehow in a reasonable way that makes sense.
I know I have the two rover timelines going on with the underdogs are still in the history before the Dark Hand even started, so they're trying to got to catch them up.
But see, that's cool though, Tim. You had that planned out long term.
Yeah, and I had the Dark Hand characters cameo in the underdogs,
which is so cool. It's just as cool as me having that wedding event and then just Curtis showing up in chat in the Zoom for no reason, and then Fritz Winchester hops in. Right, same difference.
Dennis, do you know which polyhedron?
Yeah, Kern3 is asking which polyhedron that is.
He'll take a look. Hang on. Let me see if I can find it.
While he's looking,
have a Dragon Magazine article that was all about the portals on Earth.
But not there was, but not for it wasn't that one.
Right. I just wanted to because I thought there. Okay.
Yeah,
no,
it was a great space.
I did want
that would be a good thing to have too.
I did want to add another element of the long game. I don't know if you guys talked about it, but actually players can have the long game where they have a character that they have a vision for in the future and how they want to get there. So
true.
Good point.
DM can help or not in giving them opportunity, or the character can really push hard to get to that vision, which affects it's a long game. So,
it is. And that makes it all the more satisfying when you get closer to it, you reach it.
Yeah.
Because I'll give you one that I don't know if it'll ever happen. And that is Alan's got his character, his quasi-elementalist, because we all know the whoever the king of Freerendy is, he's got 4 elementalists, all archmages around him.
that was very diplomatic.
Yes, it was. Okay, 4 18th level ones. But now I've added 2 elementalists. So he wants his character Mishner to become the 5th in Keeland. Well, he's only 11th level now. How many characters in my campaign get to 18th? Right?
Not many anymore.
Yes. So that was a goal he's working towards. But that makes it fun.
You figure 1 level every 10 years.
I'll be 120. Yeah.
Well, game years.
Yeah. But we do play the high level characters once in a while.
Yeah.
We do. All right. So why doesn't everyone give a suggestion to the group on something to help them out with whatever the long game you think is? Play an adventure, plot arc, campaign setting. You know, this is what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you, this may be a waste of time, but I think to know, and I'll give you an example. This is probably the longest one I've done, and this is pre-streaming, was Trouble at Durbanford. Dale, if you don't have this, I think you do. I think we talked about this before. I love this, and it's a 3.5 or 3.0. I converted it back. I put it in the Grand March, right? Make sure you know all the little nuances of something you're going to run, especially if it's a long-term adventure. You think it's going to take multiple sessions. Yeah, it's awesome.
Got it.
Yeah.
Polyhedron 137.
Beautiful.
And the author of the article was, where's the article here? Scrolling down.
Eric Boyd.
William James Cuffey.
Yeah, don't know him, but that's okay. Awesome.
No, it's called The Ditch.
Nice.
It's an article on the ditch, which is one of the features in Sigil. And so the gate itself is called the Seafarer's Arch.
So someone else thought of that was a problem too and fixed it.
Yeah. Well, I don't. They. Well, one of the early issues with the idea of Sigil was, here we've got a city with millions of inhabitants that has no capacity to grow food.
Right. So what's going on?
Like, you have to have a way of bringing in resources en masse.
Yeah.
And so this portal was a way of bringing in shiploads of food.
Yeah, without spending years.
Any kind of resources, whether it's wood or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, bringing in shiploads of resources through a gate that's a portal that's large enough to accommodate that. So, and then I just co-opted into the connection with Spelljammer. It was never originally meant to deal with Spelljammer.
Did we drop? Okay, no, it was just on my end. We didn't drop, did we, everyone? Sigil hard, yeah. So that's what I would say. My example is go back, read everything, because I guarantee you these long-term arcs have a lot of little hooks that if you don't know about them, you go, oh shit, that was awesome, and I missed it. So,
yes, Sam, I know that's supposed to be the proper pronunciation, but I refuse to pronounce it that way.
Sam is the new canon, so he's making stuff up.
Yeah, no, Sam is right in that Sigil was the way it was originally described in the published materials as to how to pronounce it. But I always hated Sigil.
I like Sigil much better than
I
Sigil
prefer
too.
Sigil, so I'm afraid I fall into my own.
I'm with you.
I will not conform, Sam. No, sorry. There's certain things I refuse to conform. But Sam is right. Sam is right about the official pronunciation of the town.
Okay. So, who else wants to give a bit of advice?
Watch what Jay does.
Yes.
There you go.
Always.
Plant seeds.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yes.
Plant seeds.
Good one.
Yeah.
Plant a bunch of seeds.
Yeah.
And
don't have a timer
build
for
on
when to
the
come off
lore, so to speak. Read the lore and build from it. Come up with, okay, what's the detail of that? What happened afterwards, or something like that. You can take an historic event and say, okay, what implications did that have locally, or what happened afterwards, or what happened to lead up to that story, and then tie that into the local place or someone afterwards, or invent someone's henchman or helper or son or heir or something like that into it, and then use them as your henchmen, villains, and stuff.
Watch this. Tim, name 2 of those in my campaign you can't stand.
2
of the ones Anna just mentioned. Thorns in your side during the event campaign.
Pookhead.
Yeah, that's a villain. I'm talking about like an annoyance who's just there.
Oh, I mean all your characters. Fritz.
I was thinking Lisden.
Oh, Lisden, yeah.
Leo McMichael.
I mean, they are villains.
Okay, fair enough.
They're opponents who aren't good. So,
but they're not part of the plot line.
Right. They're just
they're there.
Yes, they're surly and of demeanor and vulgar and manner. Definitely, in Aftermath they would have been killed for sure.
Yeah.
We gotta stream an Aftermath game. That we gotta do that and just kill everyone in that. Who cares?
I plan on doing 0 Day Zombie Apocalypse Aftermath.
Oh my gosh, man. That'd be
yeah,
awesome.
I've never DM'd a time limited stream or a convention or con.
Yeah.
So I've never had to use the techniques that you use, Jay, about, you know, playing fast and loose with your encounters so you can speed them along. I've never had to deal with that time constraint.
So I wouldn't do it as much, but with all these special adventuring groups, right? I don't know when they're going to be back together again, and then if everyone's going to be there. What are the odds that
you've got?
Yeah,
I mean, and particularly depending on what edition you're playing, combat can take so long.
That's it.
And it's hard to predict. Like if you've got a convention table running,
4 or 5 hours.
You know, how much can you do in that time?
Two fights, one small, one large. That's it.
Yeah,
that's it, Dennis. Dennis, I'm telling you, I've learned from. Carlos is a genius at it. I've gotten pretty good at it, and I'm sure Will's probably worked his way through it and got pretty good at it, right?
I learned it. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Anna.
Go ahead. Anna.
I was going to say I was lucky at Game Hall Con. I managed to get 1 small and 2 big fights in a basically effectively a 5-hour session, because the first hour was so damn noisy that we couldn't play effectively. So a 5-hour session, I managed to squeeze that in for a 7-8 level party. So I'm reasonably happy with that.
And the higher level party you're dealing with, the more complex.
It takes longer. Yeah,
it takes longer and longer. And Rick and I have done sessions.
100% there on that.
You got a huge battle going, and it takes forever, even with 2E, which is relatively fast combat, right?
Yeah. That's one of my caveats in Hawk Tales, is to try and my big goals is try and squeeze that down. And some players, but I want to roll the second attack. No, just pile on damage.
Group initiative. That's why I do it long. It cuts time.
Yeah, that would cut things down. I do individual initiative, and that certainly takes time. Yeah,
I'm not particularly good at it, but I also try to. I've been finishing on time lately, but I also try to weave in opportunity to not fight as part of the wrap up.
Yep.
I did that.
Which I did with the Feast of Fiends, where you ate the scab salad.
Yeah, I did.
Sauce.
Scab salad.
I did it. I really did it. Yeah.
And everyone else was fuming and wanting to fight, and I'm like, it was a good idea not to fight.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
The other one of the underdog games, they so wanted to charge into.
That was John.
Yeah, vastly. I mean, they were vastly outnumbered. There was no hope that they were going to survive, and they were still chomping at the bit to And these guys are like, we don't want to suffer casualties, so they want to be more discuss things, because they're trying to live in the real world, of common sense and the sustaining operations. So they're
like Sam mentions there with LG, and probably going back to Living City in that, where you've got adventures that were created by people and played by who knows what DMs are going to be running it. Hundreds of DMs are running the same adventure that didn't design the adventure. Yeah, some DMs are going to be able to run things quick, and others are not.
Living Greyhawk's an exception, though, Dennis, because there's no one coming on those tables afterwards. Normally, it's a session thing, and they can run.
That's true.
And they're all playing until 4 o'clock in the morning, as it is in those the stories we've hold, right? But at a con, especially, I start first thing at 9, and I got to be off that table by no later than 2. And if I'm not off that table by 2, there's trouble, because someone else is going to take that table.
Yeah.
That's why I never do a second session or third session. I got to set terrain, and some idiots running late, I'm screwed, right? I'm sorry for calling someone else an idiot. I don't know who it would be, but
That's why I signed up to do a morning and Saturday.
That's it at Page. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You got
when
it.
I design stuff for conventions, I design cut points in my own head.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll cut this out.
Yeah.
And then I just drop this information and we move the story along.
Brunkel, very nice to hear. Tim. So like I said, the first time Tim went super late first, but it was the first time he ever did it right on stream, and then got better and better and better. He's getting really good at it now. So yeah. Josh will come for me. No, Garner. God, I'm not a minion of Josh's. He ain't coming for me. I had to say it once. Curtis is off watching the football game, so I don't need to. I don't need to. I'm just joking. I'm joking. Josh will come. Josh, yeah. So it's all good. It's all good. So any other advice out there to the community here on the long game?
Well, I think if you're starting, sometimes having the big giant plot lines and whatever can be harder. I like to start small, and I was thinking of a plot like you have a corrupt politician, villainous politician he's adjusting things, so he's taking over businesses, but nobody knows. So it can kind of start as rumors in the town or in the neighboring town, and then after you adventure, you can always drop these little seeds, and they can either look into it or not. And then at some point, they come back from an adventure, and the town meets them, and then all of a sudden, the excise people show up and tax them for all their treasure, because the politician has now gotten to the point where he's expanded to start taxing all their adventurous gain. And now they have to deal with this thing, and then they can research and find out how long this guy has been starting to screw people over. Now he owns all the businesses, everyone's working, and they get paid, but they have to give most of it back to pay for other things. So
guess who did that to me?
Who did that?
You did all these freaking. Here's this permit, this law, this tariff. Dude, oh my God, I remember. Yeah, I remember. That was
especially near dwarf holds. If they think that you're taking some heirlooms or you find some treasure in an old dwarf tunnel,
ooh, you better look out.
They're hey, that's it's not proper. You got to pay the the clan elders their share.
I had that in one of the streams, basically, when they were in the Rakers, and the dwarves there had they were going through old ruins and excavating them, and they had a permit. And so the adventurers had come by and dropped something off, and it was funny. Like, they asked him, "Hey, can you do us a favor? We opened up this chamber and there's something in there needs killing. Could you go take care of that for us?" Like, sure, no problem. So they go in there and they kill the thing that they were supposed to kill, and they start clearing it out. They just start going looking through, and they come out and like, "Hey, what are you doing?" It's like, "We got a permit for that." And you're like, "Sorry, it sucks to be you." Well, these guys went and told the local town that was next where they were based out of. And so then they started getting the cold shoulder, and then like all the dwarves hated them, and they couldn't get anything done with the dwarves and stuff.
It's also a good way to kill off a hothead character. If somebody, if the player has a real big hothead, make them run into someone official like that who's well backed. You need to pay a permit, and that guy's going to want to throw. And as soon as he starts throwing down, he's on the wrong side of the law. They kill him. It's a good kill. They take all his stuff. The party loses that character. He does, they go ahead and make sure that they can't resurrect him because they've taken him away, as evidence. So anyway,
that's good.
I better write that down.
That's why I'm very level. If you notice in Tim City States when we stream it, I completely composed now all the time. Even Dervilla, who used to be a super hothead cavalier, right? She keeps her wits about her because I'm not, especially with the Overlord. I am new. Yes, sir. Yeah.
She's very good at following the rules.
Wow, Tim has still 2 seats open at Page for the Rovers of the Barons game. That's amazing, Alex. Holy jeez.
I have 2. Yeah, I have 2. One might be.
See you soon, darling.
Daniel.
Yeah, but you can always throw in an extra person too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Anna, any tricks of the trade you want to share?
Well, one of the things is that if you're a little bit time constrained, or always think about, don't run hit points as written. Meaning sometimes things need quickly. Exactly. Yeah, if the combat tends to go tedious and they're going to win, then it dies, so to speak, or it might live a little bit longer just to get that last kind of thing in. So be cinematic at times, but do it sparingly. don't do it all the time, because the players realize that the game is kind of rigged, so to speak. You did just decide if they're going to win or lose. But sometimes, especially if it gets tedious, then let them win and just move on, so to speak. Let something happen. But so don't play it by the numbers all the time. If it gets tedious, just let the players win, so to speak, and go on, or vice versa, so to speak. It's as well. So that's one of the advice. The monsters should, the number of hit points should vary a bit depending on the need for in the moment. You should be open for variation, and not also have them vary individually. If they're fighting 20 of something, don't have them all have 18 hit points.
No,
because they can be a little bit tedious too. Because once they figure that out, it kind of kills the immersion a bit. So have one of them be tougher and have 28 hit points, and one has like 12 or something like that. And
or
also
the super big one is wounded, so he doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like I did in one of my Shieldlands games recently. I had one of the trolls was drunk. So he was kind of he could take damage like crazy. He made all his saves, but he didn't hit anything, and he could barely stand up.
I
so
watched that game of yours, Anna,
Yeah.
with the drunk troll.
Yeah, so they fought one troll, and then was one, and then up in the wagon, when they rattled the wagon,
Yeah,
they woke
yeah,
up,
yeah.
and he was like, ooh, and he was like so keen on
Yeah,
getting
I
a fight,
saw
he just
that,
fell
yeah.
out of the wagon, so to speak. So
Yeah.
so introduce
Never
situations
figured out
that
where
are
the
natural.
horses went, though.
Oh, they already taken care of them, so to speak. So they were long gone. So they were not
Yeah.
part of the story. So have things that not all monsters come fully equipped, fully ready to fight, and so on. Some of them are doing weird stuff and doing things that have nothing to do with combat, not ready for it. You literally caught them with their pants down, whatever. So meaning something. They're not all there standing ready to face the characters. That means that you can put in more cool things to kill, and that are tougher because they're not ready to fight. And the players need to come up with something. If they hesitate, then the monsters can rally and get their act together. But if they go in decisive very quickly, they can gain the advantage. And there you can tie it into the story, so to speak. So if the characters rush in or stealthily in, the opponent should be in disarray, not ready to fight, and stuff like that. So yeah.
Or they don't want to fight, right?
Exactly. That's the other thing. Morale. They all trying to squeeze out the window at all once because no one wants to fight. And then the characters are they so awfully tough that they're going to chop them up from behind when they're trying to get out a window and stuff like that. So you can kind of test the morale of the party. Yeah, exactly.
How's your morale?
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they just give
friendly.
up.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yep.
just a lot of times I'll have, hey, how's it going? They're friendly. Hey, you want to come in and have a drink? Come on.
Yeah.
Like, we're here to steal the treasure. Oh,
Yep. So when you have these things and you weave them into combat, that tells more of a story. It becomes more varied and interesting, so to speak.
Right.
Thank you so very much for the raid in. Really appreciate it. Good to see you all. We're talking a long game in D&D. To GREYHAWK, but we're talking about long adventures, long campaigns, long
all
arcs.
of this could apply to anything.
It can apply to a lot. We're talking, and it's a lot of advice. Yeah. So I'm gonna give this a little bit of advice here to a new player, especially we had a couple questions from some of the people who are considering GREYHAWK, and this is gonna sound really obscure and weird. What does the first season of Happy Days and the first season of That 70s Show have in common?
Arthur Fonzarelli.
No. They both remember Chuck, Richie's older brother, and then Donna had a sister, and they both disappeared after their first season because they just they were not made sense. Didn't make any sense. They're gone after that, right? Both of them. Yeah. So, in your game, make your own lore. Don't worry about canon. But if there's something that you're like, oh man, I wish I did this and it doesn't fit, just move on from it. That's what I'm saying.
Stop mentioning it.
Stop mentioning it and move on.
Yeah.
It'll go away. It'll go away. Right? You
can always Bob Newhart it, right?
You can't. Oh, that was the best ending ever. That was the best ending. Yeah.
It was.
Oh my God. Yeah. So it is a. I've done it with a lot of stuff. It's not a big deal. and it's not going to hurt your future campaign, and you can always just move on from it. That's it. We've all done it. You think I'll tell you, I did major wars like Mike did in second edition with Sea Princes and Keeland. I rarely mention them on stream, right? Because I was what, 11, 12 years old or whatever when it first came out, and it's like it was really Monty Hall. So I don't even mention it really anymore. Those first edition characters, Tim, that I had before you were playing in 1980 with Alan and Bill, the other Bill and Matt and all them, I don't talk about them.
They were really high level.
Yeah. I don't talk about them. They're like Generation 1. Generation 2 is really when the GREYHAWK campaign started.
Yeah.
That's,
I think we always have that. Meaning, my Generation 1, I wasn't ready for long-term gaming, and I didn't know what I was doing. So that was kind of the test period. And after that comes okay, I'm starting to understand what I'm doing. Now I can build something more persistent and
right.
Yeah.
And do what you need to and have fun with it. That's it. And that's exactly what you want to do with the game. And so, and note, it's a learning experience, and it's a DMing, running a campaign is a constant play test. You're going to find out there's stuff you don't like to do in a long game, and stuff that you like, wow, I want to do this instead. I want to make this change. I want to tweak this class. I want to change a spell. Do it. I mean, I still live down the day I told Luke Gygax he couldn't cast Melcesadero. Right?
Oh, it's awesome.
I mean,
well, he could. He just couldn't reach.
He couldn't reach. It was out of range, right? And so
that's so good.
Yeah, it was. I changed the range on it from 60 feet to 90 about a year ago.
Still not good.
Still not far enough, but it's further. So
but it's awesome.
For those people in the chat who are not old timers like the rest of us, who don't know about the Bob Newhart, they're asking about Bob Newhart.
So
Bob Newhart was a comedian who had 2 series, back-to-back TV shows. They ran quite long. One, he was a psychiatrist. His wife was Suzanne Plachette in New York City, I think it was. And then that series ran through and ended. Then his second series, he was an inn owner, and was a Vermont or New Hampshire, Vermont.
I think it was Vermont, yeah.
Yeah, he was an innkeeper out and with a whole bunch of wacky characters.
Here's my brother Daryl, my other brother Daryl. Larry Daryl. Yeah.
What was his name? I'm
Larry Daryl.
I'm Larry, and this is my brother Daryl.
Larry Daryl.
And Professor Proton. That's who he was.
At the end of that series, and that series ran quite a long time.
Longer than the original Newhart.
Yeah. And so in the very last episode of that second series, the end of the show, he's lying in bed. He wakes up and kind of startled, and he goes, I just had a really strange dream. And then the person his wife that gets up, sits up in the bed next to him, is not his wife from the inn. It's his wife from his previous series. Says, I just had a dream where I was an innkeeper in Vermont, and basically saying the entire second series, which ran like 10 years, I don't know, was a dream from his first series.
You missed the funniest part, though, Dennis. He says to his wife, "You need to start wearing tighter sweaters."
Oh yeah,
because the second wife was stacked, right? Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Well,
Saint Elsewhere was
Suzanne
silly.
Plachette was pretty hot.
Yeah, it was. But it was a great ending. It was a great.
It was
Saint
brilliant because
it was. Too.
I mean, later on, other shows have kind of faked
Dallas
that,
the whole season.
Dallas did it. It was the first time that idea had ever been used before, where something was all a dream sequence.
I heard This Is Us was ended like that too. This Is Us.
Oh, did it? I don't know.
They were all
I
dead
didn't see
or something. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But hey, just note, don't end your GREYHAWK campaign that way.
No. Well, Gary Gygax kind of ended that.
Well, that was out of spite.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, and closing up on this topic, and thanks for all of you. Malden came on last second. I'm so glad you came on too, Will. And Will's got a great giveaway that's on DM's Guild now, everyone.
I'm like a cockroach.
Yes. and your boy came on too, Rick, right, in chat, which is awesome. So let's tie this up here with final thoughts on this discussion. And if we have any other questions while it's going, we'll. Larry, Daryl, and Daryl were in Baldur's Gate. Originally, they were absolutely. I forgot about that. My morph. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So, Anna, what are your thoughts on this?
First of all, I think it's something you should strive after, but you should figure out how to run your long game, because one type of long game can differ from another one. But I think there is a beauty and a benefit and something really cool when you have long story arcs. You can have deep immersive games, and you can run them for a long time. That way your version of GREYHAWK and your campaign will take off, and you will create your own lore, memories, and stuff that could then it becomes a positive feedback loop that can be really, really cool, so to speak. So don't rush away to other areas. That's one of the other things here. Stay in one area and play longer, so to speak. Don't necessarily rush off as soon as we've been there to that area, run an adventure. Think about other stuff in the vicinity, because that way you don't have to, especially if you run sandboxes stuff, because then there's a lot of prep. So that way you can use the prep over and over again, and both the characters and the players get to know an area, which is cool. You get connections and stuff. So that's another one of these things. Don't necessarily need to go everywhere. Meaning Jay has never been on the east side or the wrong side of the map.
Well, that's not true.
And I've only been to 5.
I know you're kidding. Yeah.
And I've only been to
Pharisee.
5% of GREYHAWK in 40 years. So there's you don't need to go that far. You can have a lot of fun playing local or regionally, but depending on your play style. If you want to cover big road movies with simple travel and stuff, then had it. But there might be a way you might run deep games by running them locally over time, so to speak.
Great points. Will?
Sorry, I was talking to Doc Shoulder.
That's all right. That's all right. Some final thoughts?
There, I hit enter. Final thoughts. Yeah, have fun. I don't know. It was what basically final thoughts on how to run a longer campaign. Gosh, I don't know. Like I said, I'm so I like what you guys do, and I want to steal from every one of you.
Everybody.
I'm honored that you can say that.
And it's basically you got a bunch of really good ideas. That thing with the crown, I still think about that when I think about long-term stuff.
The crown of Regeneron, the crown that turned. Oh,
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome to have something that runs that long and and then it just pops up and it goes, oh yeah, that was there.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
I would just say, like I was saying before, take notes. Definitely take notes on stuff for sure.
Yeah, we should have an episode where we talk about how to do that effectively.
I think that would be a great idea, because that's one of the things. Like I envy the fact that you had that premonition so long ago, and that you started putting it down, because now you have like all that wealth of knowledge that you can mine for different stuff. I think that is probably because that's what I want to emulate, right? That's what I want to do. So I'm thinking of the different ways of doing that, and because that is a type of game that is way different. I mean, it's like you can hit them with something that'll be so much more meaning to it than when you're running just the shorter games. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my gosh, oh yeah, that was such and such. I mean, and what's one of the things that all role players love to do? Love to reminisce, right? And they talk about the old times. So that's like rolling two things into one. So
drinking, we in the old days we used to sit around and just drink and talk about the game.
Yeah,
all the time we used to do that when
that was
for families.
We would would after the session
and no Discord,
like an hour talk. Always with my older groups, we would talk about it. Which I thought was great if I was running, because I would pick their mind about what they were doing, what they thought about it, and then what I could change or what have you. Because your players have awesome ideas, right?
Absolutely.
So I would steal them.
You have to.
That's way better than what I was planning on doing.
Oh my God! Look at all the classes and ideas that my guys have come up with over the years. The GREYHAWK Mage is Alan's baby to start off, and now I have Ed Greenwood playing one. Think about that. That's insane. So yeah, and he was all happy about it. Yeah, but well, thank you, and you're doing such great work, and I'm going to show it again, the guide. That is going to be a giveaway, the cover of it, and then the link for it if you want to download.
If you get it, leave a review.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because that actually helps with their algorithm and stuff like that too.
Smart.
So, because as of right now, I
I'm
think
gonna
we're
see if I
rocking a
can
grand
get
total of 10
There you go.
sales. So, like I said, I'm planning on, if it breaks even, I'll be happy, and I'll probably continue on. That's what Doc Shoulder was asking, whether or not I was going to do the rest of the archetypes and different stuff like that. Like, because I would like to put my adventures on there too. I would like to make it Rook Roost and not Raven's Rook, right? I would like to
Absolutely.
have
But
that.
then you got to strip out all the AI art too.
Well, there's no AI art.
Oh, there's none in that one either?
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
I don't have AI art, none of that stuff. The
I'm thinking of the halfling one.
Yeah, the free stuff I use AI art in.
Yeah.
That
okay.
I do.
Okay. Okay.
Because I'm not going to pay somebody for something I'm giving away for free.
Right.
I'm not that independently wealthy. Okay, so that's not happening. But I would. The problem with one of the biggest problems is something's got to hit gold before I can sell it for as a physical copy, right?
Unless you are already established on there too.
Well, okay, so they have the same type of. See, that's something I'd have to take a look in.
Yeah.
I know they give special, nods to different people. Like
we're working on that too.
Printed since the beginning.
Yeah.
But like it's got to hit a gold's worth of sales before it can do it.
What's a gold?
Whereas,
is
like,
it 1,000? What's gold?
Gold is 500. I do believe. And so like Raven's Rook you can buy on DM's Guild and you can buy print copies, right?
Yep.
But if I were to redo that, first of all, I'd have to pull it down off of drive-through.
I think I gave away all the last set.
And then I'd have to put it on there, and it'd be in PDF and PDF only, and then I'd have to wait until that sucker sold 500 copies.
Yes, that could be some time. Yeah.
And like right now, Rook Roost for Raven's Rook, for as long as it's been on DM's Guild, it's still only at a silver, right?
Right.
So, as you could see, I don't know. There's a lot to consider there. So, but we'll see for now. But this is the first collection. When I first started my my blog and whatnot, this is what I first started doing. Was I started doing all the archetypes, and the warlocks were the first ones I did. So I went ahead, and that was the first one I prepped. This was going to be a Kickstarter, but I decided instead I'll just try DM's Guild and we'll see how it works. So there's 24 patrons for your warlocks. I'm gonna throw around 5e slang for those who don't know it. So basically, each warlock has a patron. Basically, you have a boss that grants you. It's sort of like a god giving a cleric their powers, right? And warlocks are basically, the way I look at it is, this is somebody who's not strong enough to have clerics, really, right?
Yeah.
So they're all hero deities and demigods, right? Those are the people that have warlocks, because otherwise you would just have clerics, And so it's like you've got Rex Filius. So there's 24 of them in there. I did get quite a few of them that were all inspired from the Living Greyhawk era stuff, because there's a lot of cool ones that they have in there. But then there's like Merlin, Keoten, and
Kellenin.
Yeah, Kellenin's in there, So like a lot of the old
The Great Serpent.
Well. Yeah, right. And that's I was it Corvus? Was it Joe Block was asked me why Crovis was in it. It's like, man, I got at least something for the next book, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's tons. Like when I did the clerics, right? I only did the greater deities. I did 25 of them. I didn't touch the lesser deities at all. So can you imagine how many more there would have been if I'd have done that?
Right.
So there's still a ton of them. So, but yeah. So I don't know how to do this, but I will figure it out. I'm sure it can't be that hard. So basically, whoever wins will give Jay their email.
Yep.
And then I will figure out how to get them. It's because
you could always just email them PDF directly.
Oh my gosh, that's even smarter. See? Way to go, Dennis. That's what I'll do. I'll just
download it off there.
I've got it. I'll just send you the PDF, and then we'll call it good. Instead of going through all that other hassle, that's fine.
Oh, that's cool. I don't know. I don't play 5, so yeah. You can multi warlocks, right?
What's this?
Can you multi warlocks in 5e?
You can multi everything in 5e.
That's what I thought.
Yep. That's probably like the biggest knock against it is, it has a lot of the same kind of carryover from 3.5, right?
Yeah, but you can't do 7 different classes, only 2.
No, you can do you can do you can dip into it's bad like
just do
it's
all.
one
like
of
they did
these optional
3.5.
if you might DM might allow it or not allow it, but it's definitely in the rules.
Yeah.
Everyone can be anything.
Yeah.
Pretty much. That's
Whatever.
I never DM 5e, Josh. That's what I'm saying. I don't DM.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm paying much attention either, and I'm doing
playing checkers.
Yeah. So
I played 5e several times.
The thing about 5e is basically it's a super streamlined system, but it's got a lot of different stuff. Like it's one of my favorite things is like you talk to people who play 5e and then you start talking about, well, do you use this rule that is in the DMG? There's so many like optional rules that are in the DMG that will fix certain stuff, right? Like one of the biggest things is, it's nerfed, it's not as deadly, which I agree. So just get rid of death saves. Bam, it's deadly again. It's like there's different things that you can do for it. So it's just they put a lot of those rubber bumpers in there so that the new players coming into it, which I gotta say was still smart. When you have that many new players coming in, I mean, you got a lot more people sticking around when their characters didn't die right off the bat. We've all got a story about somebody who played and only played like once or twice, right? And it's maybe they had a bad DM or they had a bad experience with it. Those who are real true role players, even with a terrible experience, you're like, I see it. I get it.
One of the things you can do with 5e that I did and is that healing, you can't heal someone until they're stabilized.
Yeah.
And for each death level, then you need one action of stabilization. So if someone goes down, the whole party needs to be there trying to get them ready to heal again. And that all of a sudden then it becomes so you can actually, you have the death save still there, but it's like, we're all going to die and be smashed with pulp, or we have to save that one. So that they are. So there's a lot of ways you can tweak it. The simplest way is just take away the death save. It becomes like old school. But you can also do it like, that goes down, and now we all become vulnerable, and we need to take care of him, and drag him to safety and under fire and all of that.
The wounded soldier takes out 3 other soldiers.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's the reason behind my rules is that I know from real combat that is like that's what you want to do. You want to make someone wounded enough to take him out of action, but not dying right away, because that takes out a lot of them. So that was my experience. I want a rule system for that. So and that also means that cruel enemies will simply bang on you until you're dead, so to speak, anyway. And so that then it becomes like, we need to stop this.
I thought it was funny that the people are starting to ask, is like, well, is that compatible with the 2024? I'm like, what do you mean is that compatible? It's supposed to be all 5th edition, right?
Yeah.
It's like, of course it's compatible.
Like,
okay. So the new DM guide that's coming out with GREYHAWK in it, it's still 5th edition, right? There any differences with?
There is.
There's some subtle differences, meaning all of a sudden, if you master a weapon, you get like a special thing, cool thing you can do.
So is this like 5.1 or?
Yeah, 0.2, I think officially, because the SRD is 5.2, I think. So
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically, if you were around for 1 to 2, you're gonna understand it, right?
Yeah.
It's that kind of a change, like
or 3rd edition to 3.5. It's like a half edition change. So it's an edition upgrade rather than a new edition. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's an upgrade, but
for another
side grade or whatever.
It's a side grade.
Trust me, we're gonna have these Gabbin discussions. I promise you, we're gonna dig into the thing, pros and cons of 5th. We'll do a Gabbin on that. It just depends on when I get back from my health stuff. Charm Fantasy coming in. All right.
I have my last input on the long game.
Please do it.
I'm pro.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%, man. I am. You know how much I'm into the long game. I have plot arcs that are 25 years long, right? So I love Trump Fantasy. Thank you so very much for coming in. We're finishing up here talking the long game where it's long adventures, long plot arcs, long campaigns.
Up to 135.
And just and exclamation point drawing for the giveaway. Will is giving away this Memory to Warlock, which is on DM's Guild now. The Warlock's a Greyhawk, and also we're doing a classic D&D reprint giveaway. So
I think I've got the.
Yeah, we're going to do. If you don't have it, we're going to do these two combined. All right. We're going to do the World of Greyhawk and the Treasures together. All right. Sounds good. All righty. So, not to, and going back to you OSE, OSR people, not to compete against Will, but last week Timothy Brannon was on, and he has this. He has the old school Warlock for 1E and stuff. So, if you want a Warlock in your old school game, there you go. And I can give you the connections to get to that as well. So we have additions for other additions for Warlocks.
I like that cover. That was a really good cover.
Yeah, definitely. He's a good. Hey, Crafty DM. It was a great show. All the shows have been great lately. This is an awesome show too. So Tim, that's your final thoughts. Is I agree. I'm good on that.
I'm good. Yeah.
I know you are, dude. You and I live in the same world, man. Even though his city state's only 35 years old, we think it's 35 to 38 years old. Where
my documentation is not as nearly as detailed as Jay's.
And mine's not as detailed as Malvin's, right? So, Dennis, what are your final thoughts, Dennis?
Final thoughts. Stay flexible.
Yeah.
I think one of the and let your players help you build. Like when I started my grand campaign planning, I had no idea really where it was going to go. The players, especially Rick, helped build the direction of the timeline. But people think that it's a lot of work, but really it's not. Because as I've spent all of these decades building my campaign world, because it's continuous, it's work I don't have to do again. I think it's far more work to start over again with new campaigns all the time, starting from scratch. I have players who come in now into my long game, new players that might come into my long game, like the last batch from the university here. The entire campaign world was built for them already. That was work I didn't have to do. So in reality, it's a lot of work over time, over the long game, but really in the end it's not. It's less work. I'm lazy. I don't want to reinvent the wheel 1,000 times over. I invent it once and it's good for 30 years sort of thing.
It's rewarding as hell.
It is. I mean, it's the back planning is as much fun for me as a DM as discovering the world is to the players.
Absolutely.
It makes it fun for me. So yeah, it isn't more work in the long run. It isn't. So yeah, stick with it.
Too Tim, too furious. Hey, we'll see you. I'm going to show you in a second there, Stronghold Tim, as opposed to the ever mysterious Tim, as opposed to Enoch Pratt Tim. We got too many Tims. So, all right.
Zarathon is flexible.
Zarathon is flexible?
Yeah, he does yoga.
He does yoga. Don't give him ideas, because at GaryCon he'll have all the minions lined up doing calisthenics before each morning. So don't give him ideas.
That's a great idea.
Yes, I know him. He's going to have it done.
Japanese factories before the day starts. Everybody gets their
I couldn't help
calisthenics
myself.
in.
All right, so this is
one of the things that people don't kind of slough over a lot in their gaming is training time. Training time, you have to take that into account.
You do.
Yeah.
It's easy for me when there's 28 different adventuring groups.
Yeah,
it's really easy. Hey, I'm not part of it, so go for it there, Josh. Go for it. All right, so we're going to be giving this away along with Classic D&D reprints. Let's do it quickly. I know we're running a little late here. So thank you, Greyhawk Mike, because I pilfered right from your site. Spooky Greyhawk locations for Wednesday night's Legends and Lore. Okay, so that is going to be that's going to be a good one and fun. Adam and myself will see if we can get someone else in on that too.
Spooky.
Yeah, remember I won't have a stream Thursday night because it's trick or treating. Maybe the last time my son does, he's getting older or so, but he's dressed up as Legolas, believe it or not. So
Nice.
he got a Legolas outfit for him.
Is trick or treating Wednesday or Thursday?
No, it's Thursday. So this is
Thursday.
Wednesday, but my normal game night stream is this
Oh.
week, Thursday.
Yeah,
But I got
yeah.
a great replacement for it. So,
Right.
and that includes, here you go. Here, someone asked about this picture earlier. That includes this guy.
Oh,
Ooh.
Okay, the Overgord is back after a year or two hiatus. So there you go, Stronghold Tim and Coco and the rest of the crew. So
it
yes.
just regrows, right?
Well, it's like American
like
Horror Story. It's a
like the
different
Great
story
Pumpkin.
every time,
Right?
So it's a different story of the Overgord somewhere else, right?
This is
That's
the
the way I do it.
Hydra version of
Yeah.
a beholder.
Yeah. So, yeah. So Legend of the Overgord, Coco, Tim, Sir Timothy, Case, Dessa, and Korg. At least I may have one other person. We'll see. Saturday, November 2nd, 1 p.m. It's a 1 to 5 game Saturday. It'll be a fun game. And we'll see. That'll be the Bone Baddies, and they're called
Can the
that.
beholder wear a ring of regeneration on one of its eye stalks?
Of course.
Yeah, let's see about
Tim, tell the Ring of Regeneration idea to that you've done with Defensic.
My high level wizard basically stripped the skin away from where the ring would sit.
Yeah.
And then the ring shrunk down, and so the skin grew over it.
Ah.
Now you
Anybody
can
with
take it off.
detect magic though is going to amputate your finger.
Well, he'll detect way more than just that ring.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, Rob. None of these have ever played an Overgord game with me. So guess what? I'm going to all get them first time ever, which is going to be fun. And the Overgord is it's a Reaper Mini that they made for Bones 5. Mike Disney created it, sculpted it, and then they made it. And Bill's got a great painting for it done. I have it, and it'll be an Overgord story on Saturday next week because there's no game that Thursday. But next Sunday is even better one. Now is a even better. Well, it's a great Gabbin. We're gonna do it. We haven't done one in a year. We're gonna have our Gabbin next Crafters Creative Jam session where everyone's gonna be crafting. We're gonna be talking crafting for your game and just 3D printing and Z Knife and all the other stuff going on. Christine Van Patten is now doing miniatures for Felicia Day.
Oh.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we got Christine Van Patten. We got the Ink Mage is 75%. He hasn't 100% confirmed, but I'm almost positive he'll be there. First time he'll be on one of these. Jeremy from Gamescape 3D and Bill the Master Crafter, and that'll be next Sunday. And then there'll be other shows, but the Sunday after that, Anna gets a break next week. Ed is back.
Ooh.
Ed is back. Heroes and Heroines of GREYHAWK and the Realms. That'll be our discussion point on November 10th. All right. So Ed will be back on that Sunday night for Gabbin. So that's what's going on. We got plus all the other stuff. I said I'm fitting in as much as I can before I go out.
The Realms. I don't remember them.
I forgot. Yes, I forgot.
They're a Spelljammer thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Realms that originally appeared in Dragon Magazine.
I forgot.
See, Malden is there right now, actually, ripping up the Underdark of the Realms.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Nice. Did you destroy Men's Paradise yet, please?
No, not yet. But they're
yes.
running through City of the Spider Queen.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
that's cool. So what a
Which
great
I think
one.
is 5e. It's a 5e adventure, I think.
Oh, you're having fun with it though, right?
Yeah.
Quick Ed story. How great of a guy he is. So we're talking in our meeting, Anna, myself, Luke, a couple other people. And I say, how did I get Ed Greenwood involved? And Luke's like, yeah, you think he'll do it? I was like, yeah. And then I go to Ed and say, look, I want a monster for the final encounter of book 1. And he literally, in 3 hours later, he sends it to me. I'm like, he even really started a lot. He's like, oh, yeah, I gave you exactly, take a look at this. And then he says to me, you ready? He goes, just don't use it against me and my party at Bravo Lantar. And I go, no problem, ... I'll wait until the book's been out for 6 months.
There you go.
So, oh my God, it's so awesome too. I can't wait. Yeah, so Ed's just such a wonderful person. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you like that, Jeremy? Yeah. So All right. 2 giveaways. First winner gets their choice of the download PDF from Will or these 2 books. If you have these, let me know. This is only 2. I'm not giving you 2, but I'll give you something else in here. All right. So let me know if you don't have the. I got a pile that's the size of probably 10 feet tall under here. So even Tim got in on this. Yes. All right. And thank you for all the support. We're going to raid into Darling after this like we normally do. Darling can't be on that Crafting Creators Jam next week because she has a brand new stream, brand new topic stream that they're starting up, a brand new game. And I'm like, okay, that's why I'm asking Inked Mage to come on in her place. So, yeah. All right, here we go. Let me close this out. Hey, thank you for coming on, man. Thank you so very much. And Dennis will be on more. Dennis was just going to hang out for 10, 20, 30 minutes, and he showed up for the whole stream. So, yeah, that was awesome. All right, here we go.
I got approval from the boss.
Did you? Oh, that's great, man. That's great. And thank you for those docs, too, man. I was like, oh, my gosh, I thought I was crazy. You're way more nutty than me.
Yeah.
Holy jeez, that's awesome.
I have file folders full of shit.
I need a better system.
Old school.
A lot of my notebooks are falling apart. So.
Well, and you know, when I was trying to figure out a way of digitize it, the timeline was originally a written sheet of paper. Anna and I went back and forth quite a bit. I was trying to poke her to find out what kind of digital tools were out there, and she suggested a few, including the Obsidian something or other. I forget.
Oh yeah, Obsidian is the best ever. I love it.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
in the end, it didn't. I ended up just creating it in Word. It's created in Word.
Lord Forth is on. I just want to see which one. No, did you get Will's download yet, Lord Forth? No, Will's download for the Warlocks.
Ew.
Yeah. If you want to get a Classic D&D reprint instead of something you don't have, I'm fine with that. So just let me know, okay? If that's what you want instead. If you don't want the, because you're not doing 5e or whatever, and you don't want the Warlocks, that's fine. I'll just give you another Classic D&D reprint. That's fine. Yep. So we'll get with something. Let me see what I have a fair amount of. I have GREYHAWK The Adventure Begins. I still have a Marklands, which I would recommend highly getting.
He said he wants Will's.
Oh, you want Will's? Okay. All right. So, Forth, just whisper me in here. I probably have it. Whisper me your email so I can get it right to Will. Okay. All right, and he'll send it to you. And last winner. Let's do this. This is for the Classic D&D reprint. And then please sit tight, everyone, as we raid into Darling. Caesar, gotcha. Caesar, I'll get with you.
Hail.
Yep. So Caesar lives in that corner where PA and New York and Jersey all meet, way up there. Yeah.
The tri-state area.
Yeah, well, yeah, the very corner of it. It's like hours and hours away from us, but yeah, he's like way up there.
Is that close to the Pine Barrens? Where's the Pine
Barrens? No. I'm close to the Pine Barrens.
You're close to the Pine Barrens.
The Pine Barrens actually come almost up to where I am right now. It's actually a lot closer than you think.
There's some cool plants in there.
There are, and the Jersey Devils in there too.
Carnivorous plants.
The Pineys. Don't ever get lost around the Pineys, man. If you know, I should do an adventure about the Pineys and just turn them into something else in GREYHAWK.
I told a Halloween spooky story about the spirits of the pine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in college.
Is there equivalent to the Jersey Devil in GREYHAWK?
There will be soon.
Wild rumors about silliness.
Caesar's on in the PA side there, Phantom, if I recall.
So. Pine Barrens is also where the mafia used to dump bodies as well.
Well, yeah, because there's mud pits back there. You'll never find anything, and we don't have alligators.
Dig in the sand, it's sandy soil.
New Jersey Devil. That's Rob's other nickname. All right, so Will, Dennis, Tim, Anna. Thanks for a great show.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you so very much.
And thank you, everybody in chat.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, we'll see you all. I'm on again Wednesday. Wednesday night, Great Legends or spooky places in GREYHAWK. That'd be a real lot of fun. Yeah, definitely. I like that too. And note, and then we'll go from there. Just so I know, game on Thursday because I got family comes first with the son. But we'll have a great Saturday game too. See you soon. I'm gonna hit the wrong button. Oh, I almost hit a wrong button there. There we go. Awesome. Raiding in the Darling. It's going with over 100, which is always awesome to see. #1 stream all night on D&D category.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Things are cranking, and we really appreciate the support. Thank you so very much. And wow, 110. Awesome. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you Wednesday night. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Wow.
We're done. We're done now.
Yep.
Yeah, they're on.
Turn this off.